You're probably wondering what we're doing looking at 4 kids, well, 3 kids and a robot, in a classroom. Sit comfortably and I shall tell you. Welcome to North Waterdeep Junior School, and to the classroom of Miss Arpia. It's a Latin class, and we've been conjugating verbs. It's so dull. By the way, I'm Squiddly. These are my friends, Nat, Jenks, and Pidlwick. We're friends and don't tell anyone, but we're adventurers. We're the 4 investigators, and our motto is, we investigate anything. Adventuring detectives extraordinaire. We solve all sorts of mysteries. We slay monsters down dark alleys and trail spies and thieves through the streets around Génie's lamp. That's the cafe Pidlwick lives at with his parents, Alec, Howl, Oriana, and Génie. They're important adventurers, but they've been in a bit of trouble recently. It seems their patron has lost her job, and they're worried about the new Open Lord of Waterdeep. We're worried the new Open Lord of Waterdeep is corrupt. I'm not sure what that means, but it's a mystery, and we're going to help solve it. And while we're at it, I wonder if we'll find out what Pidlwick's parents are doing with the new portrait of the fallen Asmar with the big sword by Van Trop that they bricked up in their cellar. I helped. And the silver cuckoo clock that they have on the wall that they keep mentioning. Anyway, the class is over, so let's go to the cafe, gang. Ben has promised us pancakes.
So, your class ends, and you all gather, as you usually do, in the playground outside North Waterdeep Junior School, and you can begin to make your way back to Génie's lamp. It's a familiar route. You've walked it every day since you made friends with Pidlwick, who started at the school this term. You all gather, as I say, in the playground outside and catch up.
You say walk. I imagine Pidlwick actually cartwheels the entire way.
As is Pidlwick's preferred mode of transport.
Yeah. Can't actually walk.
It's very energy efficient to cartwheel everywhere. Pidlwick explains in sign language.
Yes, it should be pointed out for the benefit of the audience that Pidlwick, being a construct from the land of Barovia, can't speak. Nat is deaf, and so has invented a kind of sign language that she has taught all of her friends, including Pidlwick, so they can all communicate with each other, but they are in that. They're communicating via sign language most of the time. So you can all still communicate with one another, as I say. What do you talk about, you 4 children? What do you talk about on your way home from school?
So Squiddly in sign language will be suggesting to the rest of the party, I guess we are a party technically still. We're suggesting to the party that we all get matching outfits that we can do when we're doing our investigations and doing our adventuring, as we will call it. Excellent. Squiddly will suggest we get capes.
Pidlwick asks what colour capes.
Squiddly responds.
Not very animatedly says no capes. Capes are bad, dangerous, not good.
Squiddly is going to scowl and then respond back again in sign language, saying, "Well, we could at least get them like maybe black, maybe velvet with maybe I don't know what does Howl wear with like a red lining or something like that."
Pidlwick's going to say that Alex says that Howl has no sense of style.
Can we insult each other through these child mediums, Miles?
Does Squiddly have like a rucksack or anything like that?
So Squiddly will be carrying a sort of leather book bag type thing, amongst other kind of like more eccentric elements, I think. So Squiddly, for example, has an eye patch, and periodically, whenever Squiddly says something particularly dramatic, will like look to the side and like cover it dramatically, and then say something as if it's just been told to Squiddly psychically or something.
But do you have anything that's sort of like a hood or a jacket or anything?
Sure. Yeah, I would say Squiddly probably wears something with a hood, so that, again, so that he can put it up dramatically and pretend to be mysterious.
Nat is gonna very hard pull on whatever you have, your hood or something, trying to pull you to the ground as if, and then say or sign, "No capes," and sort of sign like your cape has been caught in something. Capes are bad.
Squiddly will Squiddly will look up at you from being basically pulled to the ground, and out loud at first say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And then we'll look up at you and sign the phrase, "All right, fair enough. You make a good point."
Jenks will offer a hand to help Squiddly back up.
Yeah, we'll both do it.
Squiddly takes it, and then looking dramatically back at Nat, we'll be like, and then we'll sign, "Lucky for you, I'm keeping my hidden eye away for now."
You continue. You make your way home, navigating the closed and tight streets of this part of North Waterdeep. It's about a 5-minute walk to get back. But as you turn down one of the smaller alleyways, this alleyway is about 50 foot long by about 15 feet wide. As you turn down, the walls here are so close that your footsteps echo. Those of you who can hear are aware. Well, those of you who can hear are aware of the sound of the echo. Those of you who can't hear are aware of the vibrations in the air and on your feet from the. From the mass of feet. It dawns on you all, however, that you are being followed.
Can I try and spy whoever's following us? Would that be like a perception check or something?
Yes. I'm just going to ask Alistair to turn off his camera and turn it on again, because I think Nat has glitched out of the Matrix.
It's fine, look at it. That's just not what Nat looks like.
So perhaps revealing Squiddly's he'll lift the eye patch as if using the eye underneath, which is probably totally fine to see better than normal. I rolled a nat 20 on that perception check.
All right. Which is for a total of?
Total of 19, because I have -1 to that.
You are very surprised when you turn round and see Mrs. Arigny following you.
Okay. Mrs. It's Aaron.
Sorry, it's as you pronounced it to begin with.
Arpia.
Arpia. And Mrs. Arpia is following you home.
That's not normal, I assume.
No.
In any situation.
No. As far as you're aware, teachers live at school. You never see them outside of school.
Well, they do live at school.
Okay. And we all know sign language, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Squiddly is going to sign. As far as we know, Mrs. Arpia does not. Right?
Yeah, I was going to say, does the teacher know sign language?
No.
Cool. Yeah, Squiddly's going to sign to the rest of the.
Very interesting for me in Pidlwick.
Yes, it is.
Well, perhaps we should, when we get back to our actual characters, bring up the Waterdavian schooling system to Lord Ilvaster and be like, "Listen, we're going to make some changes." So obviously, yes, Squiddly will sign to the other party members then that we're being followed by Miss Arpia. Sorry, is Arpia, by the way, a joke at RP Dan? Is that what this is meant to be?
No.
Okay.
It does mean something, and if you guess what it means before it is revealed, I will give you inspiration. If anyone in the chat knows what it means.
It's Latin, right?
Is it written down anywhere?
Okay.
Yes. You can, Connor, if you'd like to spell it out for people, you can.
What, in chat? Okay, yeah, because I have the spelling. It is, let me just grab that, like this. Pronounced, as far as Dan's instructions say, Arpia.
Yes.
Like Arpia.
Pronounced Arpia. That's how it's written. As I say, if anyone guesses what it means, they win things.
Is it something in game that it means, or is it like real life that it means?
Both.
Cool.
Oh my goodness, Dan.
Right.
I like mind games at this stage.
Yeah, so Squiddly's going to sign then to the rest of the party. We're being followed by Miss Up here.
Maybe we forgot something at school. I check my bag to see if I've remembered everything.
As far as you can tell, everything you need is there. All of your books, your little drawings, your little book of poetry that you're too embarrassed to show anyone.
Yes.
I'm gonna sign. Sorry, Nan is gonna sign. Do we confront? Do we run? Do we carry on as normal?
You're about halfway down this 50-foot long alleyway at this point. She has rounded the corner and is definitely following you into the alley.
So
There's no escapes.
There's no escapes either side. These are the backs of buildings. The exit of the alley is about 25 feet in front of you.
Is there rubbish laying around?
There
Like
are bags.
boxes
Yeah,
to the side?
there are bags of rubbish
Detritus.
and empty boxes dotted around. Yeah.
It's just newspapers. Movies.
Jenks will sign. Cuddles and I can cause a distraction if we want to run.
Oh, God.
Gesturing to his little owl bear.
Squiddly is going to sign back saying, perhaps Mrs. Up here is working with one of our many, many enemies in Waterdeep, from our investigations and such.
We can't let her see our base of operations.
But also, if we do, do anything too bad, then we might get detention. So we should probably think about this carefully.
She shouts out, "Children!"
I carry on walking.
Jenks
I'm
start
not
running.
a child, so she must not be addressing me.
Unaware of what's happening behind me.
Is she acting like the way she would normally act, or is she acting like a creepy serial killer following 4 children into an alleyway?
Make an insight check.
3 children and an automaton.
Automaton
What's
child.
Pidlwick's insight bonus? 17.
She looks more determined than she usually does when teaching a class, and it seems to be a matter of urgency that she wants to stop you.
Does it look like she's carrying something? Is it like a note or something that we might have forgotten? Or
not that you can see. No, she's got her satchel bag over her shoulder though.
Knowing that, obviously, I'm sure that these characters have knowing Pidlwick, and as we as players know Pidlwick's dark origins.
Yeah.
I think Squiddly is going to kind of immediately turn to Pidlwick with an eye of caution and just kind of see, basically trying to make sure that Pidlwick's not about to shoot a dart at this teacher.
Pidlwick's considering it.
Okay. I'll tell you what then.
You are now around the exit of the alleyway. The alleyway exits at a T-junction, going left and right.
I'm going to kind of duck around the corner. The moment everyone else has kind of rounded the corner as well.
I want to check. Which way would we normally turn?
You would normally turn left and then take a short alley back to the main road.
And what happens if we turn? What happened if we turn right?
If you were to turn right, you would enter into a short kind of a rabbit warren of back alleyways. You're kind of in the middle of a block of buildings that would either let you double back on yourself back to the main road that your school is on, or go the complete opposite direction to Génie's lamp and further south into the city.
Is it easy to get lost for people who even know their way around in the rabbit warren?
No, because it's all kind of long alleyways then with short turn-offs, so you can always find a way out, but it can be a bit disconcerting. Have you all rounded the corner?
Well, I was going to say, as we approach, in the last 5 feet of getting to the end of the I want to say corridor, the alleyway, I'm going to sort of do this and question the group, left or right, left or right.
left is the way home, yeah, was that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to sign and say, well, there's no place safer than the cafe, right? And then as we turn the corner, I'm going to have Squiddly... Yeah, to the left. I'm going to have Squiddly 180, very, very dramatically, as Squiddly's a bit of a theatre kid, like use two hands to like flip the eye patch up, put out a hand dramatically, and call out in, verbally, sorry miss, school ended approximately 15 minutes ago! And then I'm going to use thaumaturgy to cause a harmless tremor in the ground to start happening for around a minute, and basically make the ground in this alleyway start shaking as if to make it more difficult terrain for Miss Arpia, maybe?
Okay.
I was going to say, can I assist with that and use Mage Hand to topple any nearby rubbish?
That sounds good.
Yeah, sure. So the way this works is you shout that out, Squiddly, and as Jenks goes to kind of Jenks weaves magic, casts Mage Hand, elbows a box that some boxes that are stacked up, and they begin to fall over. And as they fall over, the very heavy objects inside shatter, and the noise of the shatter in this environment makes it feel as though the ground or the very walls are shaking. As this little cascade of boxes now that have been nudged by Jenks all kind of cascade to the floor and continue making this reverberation.
We've created a very small obstacle.
Do you stay facing her, or do you round the corner as well?
I think now is a great time to run, in my opinion.
Okay.
Leg it.
You start running down the left-hand alleyway. There is
I'm cartwheeling.
Well, yeah, you're cartwheeling. There is, for a brief moment, the sun is blocked out for just a split second. Those of you with a high enough passive perception, so one or two of you are able to notice this. The sun is blocked out for just a second, and you're looking over your shoulder, you're wheeling around. This is, it's beginning to get kind of an uncomfortable, a tense, a fraught situation. She comes out from the alleyway in front of you, the way that you are going. She walks out from the main street into the alleyway and says, "Stop there."
Absolutely not.
Keep on cartwheeling.
She looks at you all. She looks at you all approaching her, and slowly her form begins to change.
Oh my god!
You see
okay.
the hand that she's holding out begins to get longer, and her fingers turn into claws. She begins to kind of convulse her back, and out of her back spring two wings. Her ears elongate, and her teeth grow out into pointed fangs that are all mismatched and jagged. And you are facing down a harpy.
I thought we were running because we're like, it's the teacher, they want to talk to us after school, we don't want to do that, let's run, because we're kids. Not, the teacher's a harpy, this is some Percy Jackson tier stuff now.
And
watched that the other day.
She says to you, she kind of gesturing to you says, "I have to take you somewhere, and you'll come with me." And she's gesturing when she says that at Pidlwick. Roll initiative.
Okay.
In chat, just Hannah, really. You are very correct. Arpia is indeed Greek for harpy.
Wow.
It wasn't
Damn, if only I'd spoken Greek.
Yeah. You should have done classics. Like it was so much fun. I didn't do it, but it was fun. I just need
So first of all, that wasn't an option for me. But second of all, it's all Greek to me.
Oh dear.
I'll take my second
awful
now.
Awful.
Okay, Nat, your initiative, please. 4, and I have an 8 from Pidlwick, a 14 from Jenks, and a 6 from Squiddly.
Correct.
Alright, Jenks, you react first.
Excellent. I am going to release a firebolt.
I thought it was a fireball, and I was like, how could you not fire? What do you mean your child came equipped with a fireball?
So close. 23 to hit.
A 23 will... How did you get a 23 to hit? You're level 1.
I rolled a 19.
Wow, okay. Alright.
It's never been the modifiers, Dan, it's just us as players.
Yeah, cool. So, you cast a fireball. Firebolt. You cast a firebolt towards the harpy. When you begin, you pull out your wand, you begin to weave this magic, and at that precise moment, the chimney that is overhead begins to billow out quite a bit of smoke, and some cinders fall from the chimney and land on the harpy's wings and catch fire. As you throw your firebolt at the harpy, which strikes its wings. How much damage?
3 points.
3 points of fire damage.
Level 1.
Pidlwick, you react next.
Coming from us being like, level 15, this is wild.
I'm just glad I don't have spells.
It's beautiful.
Okay. So Pidlwick, his mouth falls open, and in his mouth you see like a dart that fires out and towards her, and I roll a not very high, a 12 to hit.
That will hit. With a large wingspan, Mrs. Arpia is not difficult to hit.
I think Miles' Wi-Fi has given up.
Oh no, not now.
Pidlwick's eyes begin to kind of like roll.
You know the Windows noise of like an error thing coming up, like
yeah.
Pidlwick is making the dial up.
How many points of damage?
3 damage.
3 points of damage. Okay.
And that is my singular dart.
All right. The harpy is going to rush.
I do have a bonus action I can do.
Go on, go for your bonus action.
I'm gonna point at I've forgotten people's names. Now that I can't see them on the stream.
Nat.
Squiddly and then Jenks. Well, I don't know which way I point to, but,
Squiddly. And yeah, I point at Squiddly and I mime him punching her in the face. And I'm going to give you a bardic inspiration.
Okay.
Love it.
I'll take that, but Squiddly's going to like turn back and sign back and say, "Well, that's all well and good, Pidlwick, but we don't want to kill our teacher. Please, can we not kill our teacher?"
I sign back, don't we?
Mrs. Arpia, no. Whilst you're having this discussion, Mrs. Arpia rushes forward and makes and swings claws at Pidlwick. Trying to grab Pidlwick. Rolling a nat 1, she completely underestimates Pidlwick's abilities, and she swings, but Pidlwick's kind of upper half of his body kind of detaches and goes backwards, like completely missing the claws, and then it snaps back upright. Second attack, however, is a 20. So she will grab your arm, Pidlwick, and begin to try to pull you from the ground as she flaps her wings, and you are now elevated 10 feet above the ground. Squiddly.
Okay, I'm going to call out verbally to Mrs. Arpia and say, Mrs. Arpia, I don't mean to be rude, but have you always been, like this? I don't think the Parent-Teacher Association will like to hear about this, frankly. Does that count as an intimidation or anything like that, Dan?
Mrs. Arpia is not intimidated by a 9-year-old threatening the Parent-Teacher Association.
Fair play, to be honest, that's fair. Okay, in that case, Squiddly's gonna shake his head and be like, "Oh, well, fine. Fine, then I shall rain down justice upon you, Mrs. Arpia." And is she in the air as well?
She is, yes.
I'm going to shoot her with my toy bow that I will pull out from my book bag.
Go for it.
Cool. I rolled another nat 20.
All right.
So we're rolling.
So it's max damage plus a die roll.
So that's going to be 1d6. That's 7 plus. Sorry, that's 6 plus 2. That is a total of 9.
6 plus 2 is 8.
You are completely correct. Fair play.
Okay.
It's been a while and I can't count anymore.
Does he get a sneak attack on this?
Do I get a sneak attack actually? Because wouldn't
Pidlwick is within 5 feet, so yes, you get sneak attack damage on this as well.
I've not played a rogue in a very long time, or basically ever. How does sneak attack's 1d6, right?
Yep. So you do another 6 points of damage as max, and then roll the die. All right.
And I would say you would have got advantage as well, but you don't need it.
That's another 11 damage then if we're adding the 6 as well.
So you pull out an arrow, you aim your bow, you fire your bow, and you strike the joint that attaches the wing to her back, and you strike it with such force that her wing is knocked and she drops slightly 5 feet to the ground. And Pidlwick, if you had a stomach, it would move up into your chest as you are dropped 5 feet. She's still holding on to you, however, but that has really hurt her. You may even have dislodged part of the bone that is holding the wing in place. Nat
is gonna Legolas style jump from some detritus on the floor to the wall and sort of with her dagger, short sword, sort of go in with like a
all right
in her leg or something
Roll
to try and bring her down. That went on the floor. That is a natural 1, but for a 4.
Okay, well, within that one, so you imagine in your mind this epic moment where you leap up against a wall and bring your toy short sword, your wooden short sword, down into the harpy's leg. So caught up in your imagination are you that you completely miss your footing and just manage to push yourself against a wall and then back again into the street, flailing your sword wildly, missing the harpy completely.
Just to say, the one that landed on the floor was also a 1. So
the harpy begins to move again and pulls her, tries to recover and fly away. And it's at that point when an arrow flies out from nowhere, it seems, strikes her in the chest, and her wings furl inwards and she falls to the ground. Pidlwick, you also fall the remaining 5 feet to the ground, and she howls in pain as an arrow now protrudes from her chest. A figure,
like a real arrow?
A real arrow. A figure leaps out from behind piles of boxes and moves over, holding a knocked arrow in the air, pointing it directly at Mrs. Arpia's face. And this figure, a human man, says quite gruffly, "Who sent you?" And Mrs. Arpia, lying there, bleeding, this kind of black ichor from the arrow wound in her chest, still clutching Pidlwick's arm as tightly as she can in her claws, says, "Never you mind. It won't be long now. The master will have him." And then her eyes flick up into her head, and the grip on Pidlwick's arm goes slack. The
will have him.
The man, just for good measure, releases the arrow, and it shatters her skull upon impact.
Oh my god!
What's the children's reaction to this?
I'm gonna scream!
The man whirls round at Squiddly screaming and grabs you by the shoulders and says, "It's all right. Be quiet.
You just killed Miss Arpia."
If I hadn't, She'd have taken your friend.
Looking over at Pidlwick, Squiddly's going to be like, right, you are. However, probably could have done without seeing that. I'm sure that won't have any lasting effects on my psyche as a growing young lad.
What do the rest of you do? He brushes
Jenks.
Squiddly's shoulders and kind of resets your hood.
Nice. Jenks will be halfway signing Kill Stealer, just now looking horrified at the mess. Just going oh my god. He's clutching Cuddles to his chest what the fuck?
Nat, I sort of imagine being a child of the streets.
Mm-hmm.
So he's grown up and has potentially seen death before.
Yeah.
But not quite to this extreme.
No, not quite to a dead harpy, no.
So I think it's going to look a little shell-shocked. But it's not... strange things have happened, but this is definitely the strangest.
Yeah. For Pidlwick, this is nothing new. You have seen worse than this in Barovia.
I just calmly walk over and retrieve my dart.
I'm fairly certain in canon Pidlwick by this point has surely killed many, many people anyway, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Alec occasionally just hands Pidlwick a knife and tells him to go solve problems.
The man turns to Pidlwick and will say to you, Pidlwick, are you alright? And immediately you recognise this man, because this is a man that you have seen around the cafe many times. This is Howell's uncle Thomas.
Oh, good God.
He is standing there in black leather armour that you, Pidlwick, have been hanging around them long enough to know is the armour of the Zentarim. You can see that he is wearing on his his right ring finger the Zentarim ring, the serpentine ring, and he is carrying, slung over his back now is a bow. He is a handsome man in his late 40s with shocking black hair, very similar to Howell's, and green eyes.
I'm gonna sign. What are you doing here? Did Howell send you?
He doesn't know. Well, he doesn't know your sign language, but Nat has copied enough of it from Thieves' Cant, from the people that Nat has spent time around over her years on the streets, that some of it is translatable to the head of the Zentarim, who says to you, Pidlwick, it says out loud, I've been following you to make sure that she didn't get her claws on you. She's been after you for some time.
What does she want with Pidlwick?
Say that again, Alistair?
Can Nat lip read, or does this need...
Nat can lip read.
Cool.
Jenks, what do you say?
What does she want with Pidlwick?
I believe leverage. It's where someone kidnaps someone in order to blackmail someone else. I think that's what's happening here. Come on, let's get you back to the cafe.
What's blackmail?
It's where you threaten someone by holding something over them, and you ask them to do something or to give you money in exchange for not revealing information or not killing someone, or...
So when she lifted Pidlwick up over us, what did she want from us then?
She didn't want...
Jenks will translate it.
She doesn't want anything from you. She wants things from Pidlwick's parents.
But she was holding Pidlwick over us.
Ah.
Pidlwick does this motion and does a very sad head shake.
Jenks is just gonna nod affirmingly, yeah!
Thomas will say to you all, she wanted to scare you, and you're all incredibly brave. Well done. Let's get you back to the cafe. You need some pancakes.
I do like pancakes.
Strawberry sauce?
Strawberry sauce.
Squiddly will be still quite shell-shocked and say, Ben already promised us pancakes anyway. When you say blackmail, you mean the Pidlwick's parents, don't you? She wanted them.
She evidently wanted to kidnap Pidlwick to blackmail, threaten Pidlwick's parents.
Alec does have a lot of enemies.
We all have a lot of
Pidlwick signs.
Hey,
Yeah.
Genie's a wonderful person
Génie has no enemies.
that you know of.
What about people who don't like garlic bread and brie?
Many enemies.
Thomas will say, I've been keeping a watch over you all for a few days now. It seems that I felt that maybe you could use a little extra protection. There was an incident at the cafe a few days ago that, unfortunately, I felt a little unsure that your parents would be able to protect you all. So I've been following Pidlwick and three Pidlwick's friends for a few days to make sure that you're kept safe. I'm very glad that Mrs. Arpia attacked when she did. It now means that you should be safer a little longer.
I think I'd like to go back to the cafe now, please.
Let's go. And he will
On
kind
the,
of... Go on.
yeah, on the way, can I sort of ask, was Mrs. Arpia actually was the harpy actually Mrs. Arpia, or was it? Does he know if it was a harpy disguised as Mrs. Arpia?
Are you asking Thomas that?
Yes.
Thomas says, no, that's been your teacher for some time. It seems that whomever is after you is very well connected and has put agents, spies, in places.
It is a Percy Jackson situation.
So no,
Squiddly
no
asks,
one is to be trusted.
referencing that very famous series of books that exist in...
That was not in character, but I'll, you know.
So what you're saying is no one to be trusted.
You can trust Pidlwick's parents and their friends.
Are you a friend?
I'm Howl's uncle.
Well, he doesn't seem to like you.
Pidlwick is shaking his head.
Pidlwick said 100
Pidlwick shaking his head very violently. Thomas just looks down at Pidlwick and he says, Pidlwick's parents and I have some disagreements sometimes, but I very much love Pidlwick's parents, and I want to make sure that both them and their family are kept safe.
You seem to have disagreements a lot, though. Are you sure you're friends?
The best of friends are honest with each other.
We're honest with each other and we're best friends, but we don't argue that much.
You should tell Genie that.
He will say quite patronisingly to you, when you're grown up, you'll understand.
Oh, I wish this child was equipped with the rage I feel towards Uncle Thomas.
You make it back to the cafe unharmed.
Alright, I'm older.
You make it back to the cafe unharmed, and Ben is stood on the doorstep, and he frowns at you all approaching and looks at Thomas and says, well, you're all late home. Where have you been? And he addresses all of that to Thomas. And Thomas says, they were accosted by a harpy in an alleyway. It seems that one of their teachers had been that the harpy had been masquerading as one of their teachers for some time. They tried to kidnap Pidlwick. Get them some pancakes, but Ben, I think you, I, and Lyra need to have a conversation. Ben just kind of nods, and then we'll hold the door open for you all.
I go in and find our usual table.
Yep, find your usual booth.
And with my pen or something, start drawing on the table, like I always do.
Alright.
Jenks will ask for extra syrup and an extra pancake as he passes Ben.
Okay.
Squiddly is just kind of still quite shell-shocked, kind of shaking a little bit, but very much pretending to play it off as like a, Squiddly's romanticising it a little bit and kind of being like, who knows what our enemies will throw at us next. but we'll kind of keep looking towards Pidlwick with like a great deal of anxiety.
I'm gonna sit there longingly towards the kitchen and say, and sign hopefully pancakes.
Yes, hopefully.
Pidlwick is going to say, well, sign. I was told when I was in trouble that I should go to the cafe 3 streets over that's owned by Mr. Karos and point at one of the paintings and he would help. Maybe we should sneak out while they're talking and go and get help. Maybe it's another one of my parents' friends. They don't have many of those.
Can we eat the pancakes first? I really want the pancakes.
You can eat your pancakes first.
Excellent.
Lyra brings over several plates of pancakes, and you notice that there are a few extra toppings on them that aren't usually there. A few extra marshmallows and bits of chocolate on some, an extra pile of fruit and helping of cream on another, and they are there for you to tuck into. Meanwhile, Ben and Thomas and Lyra are having a conversation, and they are not having the conversation so far away enough that you can't overhear them, those of you who can hear. Would you listen in?
Absolutely.
100%.
Jenks would be too invested in the pancakes.
Yeah. Now you can lip read, so you can watch, you can listen in as well, as it were, and see what they have to say.
Has it been less than
We'd
10
make
minutes
perception
since our fight?
No, it's been more than 10 minutes since your fight.
Oh, so that bardic inspiration has expired.
Will have worn off, yes. So if those of you who would like to listen or observe the conversation to find out what's being said, what are your perception checks?
Nat is going to observe the conversation and do it in such a way, because she can't break eye contact, although she might use a word here or there. It's just going to be picking up things and not looking at them and just putting them in her mouth. So it's a wild concoction of
fruit and chocolate and marshmallows and bits of pancake.
Sometimes there's not even a pancake, sometimes there's all pancake.
Yeah.
At one point she picks up a fork and goes to eat that.
Pidlwick is miming eating, but he's like accidentally picking up like packages for things people have dropped, like sweet packets. Just
a sugar packet.
And then if you, like, when no one's looking, he takes it out of his mouth and hides under the table.
Okay, so your perception checks.
14.
8.
Sorry, 16. 16.
I got a 15. However, I was wondering, given Squiddly's predilection for being compelled to investigate, I'm wondering, would it be possible that they're having this conversation, like, I imagine a few moves away, maybe, or something like that, right?
Well, they're stood over near the bar, so about 15-20 feet away from you.
Is there any way that I could, like... They're probably not going to assume that, you know, these kids are going to try anything, so I'm wondering, could I, like, try and sneak a little closer, maybe? I've got 15 for the perception check, but...
Yeah, you can. You may roll that perception check again. You can have advantage on this check.
Cool. So we'll just roll it once more, yeah? So 15, or it's going to be the 15, and the other one was a 6.
Okay. You overhear the bulk of the conversation between you, such that you can, like, every so often, like, you sign to one another, you know, what was that? You know, kind of miss that, and you can kind of begin to fill each other in on the bulk of the conversation. Collectively, you are able to overhear and observe and work out. Thomas turns to Ben and says, "I did tell Howl it was only a matter of time." Ben replies, "Look, I don't think they anticipated that anyone would go after the children. Particularly not Pidlwick. I mean, he's... you know, Pidlwick." Thomas says, "They'll go after anyone and anything that means anything to them. We're talking about the Open Lord of Waterdeep here. His reach is quite broad. He knows what to do, what pressure points to push to get what he wants. Ranulf Ilvaster is not someone who can ever be trusted. He's a man who will stop at nothing to achieve his objectives." Ben's just kind of shaking his head slightly, and Thomas says, "Listen to me, Ben Benson. I tried to warn Howl, but now that they've gone on their little journey, they've left the cafe open to threat and blackmail. Nearly ended with Pidlwick being kidnapped. Can you imagine what Alec would have thought if we'd been unable to protect Pidlwick? You need me to be around, Benson. Ben just kind of says, I've had firm instructions from Howl not to let you stay in the cafe. You really upset him when you kidnapped. when you kidnapped me. It was very unfair. And Thomas replies, it was regrettable that he wasn't able to better protect you, but it really underlines my point. Ben says, I think your point, Lord Blackwood, is that people here, these children, are at risk of getting wrapped up in Ilvaster's schemes and machinations. We can't let any harm come to them, I grant you that. As long as you're here protecting them, and not trying to interfere in what Howl and the others are doing, then you can stay around. Thomas seems appeased by that and will move away, at which point Lyra will say to Ben, we do need to talk about the letter. And Ben will kind of look down at a piece of paper that he's been holding in his hand and say, we'll talk about the letter later. Come on. The kids are nearly done. Let's clear away the plates and let them get off to do their homework. Ben and Lyra will begin to approach the table and move away some of the plates that you finished with. Ben puts down the piece of paper, picks up several plates and bits of cutlery with Lyra and walks away towards the kitchen. You know that he'll be coming back in a few moments to pick up the rest of the plates.
I'm gonna pick up and read the piece of paper.
Alright, you snatch the paper.
No hesitation there at all.
The paper...
I pull out from my, bag, I pull out a piece of paper and I lay it in the place the other one was, face down.
Okay.
Confident that will work.
You unfurl the letter and you can't... you make an insight check for me.
That's a 15.
Okay, with a 15. This is some sort of... Well, you know what... You've seen kind of demands for money before, so you recognise that it is a demand for money of some kind. It seems rather official. The the symbols of Waterdeep are at the top, and there is a signature at the bottom belonging to an Aaron Learlock. And it's signed Aaron Learlock, tax officer of the Open Lord of Waterdeep. You don't know what tax is, but whatever it is, they're asking for 100,000 gold pieces worth.
It's about my other character doesn't know what taxes are either, apparently, so I think we're okay.
And count that high. I assume they're just asking for 10 or 100.
That's what it is. It is a letter from Aaron Learlock asking for 100,000 gold pieces, and it is so. A few things though that you do notice with your roll is that it is dated 3 days ago, and is marked final notice, and someone has scribbled on the side of it, near the, as I underlined in red, the total 100,000 gold, and then has written in red at the side of it, like your teachers do when they've marked work, has written 3 words at the side of it. What the fuck, with exclamation marks.
That's a bad word.
I put it back and move the other piece of paper that was in its place.
Okay.
And start
Jenks.
holding a paper aeroplane while looking to see if Ben is coming back.
Ben and
Jenks
Lyra
will
are on their way
ask-
back. Go on.
Okay. Jenks will ask what the letter was about.
I instead of responding straight away, I will sort of look as if yeah, I've heard you, but I'm watching Ben and Lyra come. I'm not going to say anything just yet.
Ben and Lyra
And then one.
clear away the rest of the plates, and Ben will tell you all verbally and with the bits of sign that he has also picked up after getting to know you, homework, and then we'll go away.
I will throw the paper aeroplane in his face, and get out my bag. I don't know, do we do homework here, or do we have a room? Or
You can either do it here, or occasionally you have gone up to Ben's office when it's been quite busy, and the cafe is busy at the moment, and you know that you're allowed to go up to Ben's office to do your homework up there if you need the slightly less chaotic environment.
Pidlwick just points upstairs.
Yeah, Squiddly's gonna think, kind of seem to calm down by this point, and then we'll sign back saying that if we do want to find out a bit more about this mystery, then maybe Ben's office might have some more clues.
we go to Ben's office.
Ben's
We
office.
didn't hear that thought.
So you head upstairs, and you go to.
On the, I'll explain the letter and
What do you say about the letter?
I say, looks like someone wants money. An Aaron Learlock. I spell out tax office. Obviously, I know what office is, but I don't know what tax is. I say how much, and then it said like final notice and stuff like that. And then sort of look like questionably, and sort of sign out 100,000. Because I don't know, can I count it? Can 9-year-olds count to 100,000?
You sign one, and then just hold up a bunch of zeros.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me just do that hand gesture again for the gifts.
Somebody clip it.
So you get up to Ben's office, and you instinctively go over to one of the bookshelves that borders a wall that leads borders a wall that's kind of not a load-bearing wall, but that is kind of further into the cafe than Ben's office. Ben's office is on one corner of the top floor, and this is an old building. When Pidlwick, your parents, acquired it and they began renovating it, they included a number of small compartments and hidden rooms that would be of use to them in the event that the place was attacked by a time-travelling wizard searching for the hand and eye of Vecna, for example.
Heaven forbid that happens.
You, Pidlwick, have repurposed one of these as headquarters for the 4 investigators, and the entrance to this is underneath the bottom shelf of one of Ben's bookcases. It's the room that you have chosen because it is so low, it would require a grown person to crawl to get under. For you 4, all you have to do is duck slightly to be able to get into this space. It's quite a secure and safe space for you all. It's a reasonably modest room. It's 15 feet by 15 feet, but you have equipped it to be headquarters for the 4 investigators. Every so often, you sneak in here to do your homework as well as in Ben's kind of big office. Ben's office at the moment, just as you're taking everything in, does have the big Oriana's big conspiracy board that sets out what the heroes know of the conspiracy so far. That they believe, as you're looking at it, they believe that this person, Ranulph Ilvaster, whose name you would know as being the Open Lord of Waterdeep. Pidlwick, you know a bit more than the rest of them do in this situation, but you all know who the Open Lord is. You all saw the ceremony that was attacked by the bad guys that you know Pidlwick's parents were involved in stopping. Pidlwick's parents, it seems, believe that this Ranulph Ilvaster is their is a baddie. He's a bad guy, and they're trying to work out how to stop him by tracking down his cronies and by trying to find these things called the King's Tears that they have gone off in search for. And Pidlwick, obviously, you know that they have gone off in search for these things in consort with Cecile Dubois, who is a Zentarim assassin who used to work for Howl's uncle, but now is trying to escape from the Zentarim. You don't know how long they're going to be. They've been gone a few days now. It's unusual for them to be gone for any great length of time without Alec at least sending you a sending spell, but it's now been a day, Pidlwick, since Alec last sent you a good night message. You didn't receive one last night, and you've been a little bit worried and anxious about that today. And kind of now that you get here, you're back in your safe, secure environment. This is your happy place. The feelings of anxiety begin to, you know, the adrenaline subsides, the feelings of anxiety take over.
Is there a photo of Ranulph on the board?
There is, yes.
This can only go well.
Jenks is gonna wander over and just he's just perusing, and he's gonna pull a crayon out from his pocket and draw a very terrible mustache.
Okay.
And just completely deface the photo of Ranulph, and then draw a little smiley face in the corner.
All right, that's what you do. What do the rest?
Can
of
I
you
go over to a bookshelf and pick up the book that I've recently been reading about kings and their sad stories?
Yeah.
See if I can find any information about King's Tears.
Okay. You start flicking through that book.
Yep.
Pidlwick crosses over to the conspiracy board, and he's very clearly mimicking an expression he's seen Alec do, because whereas Alec would do like this, Pidlwick is just holding his hand in front of his face.
Pidlwick is being quite pensive, investigating the board. What's Squiddly doing?
I think that Squiddly is going to take a look at the board as well, but specifically, I think Squiddly is going to be looking for anything that would relate to why Uncle Thomas or Hal's Uncle Thomas might be looking towards them, anything to Mrs. Arpia, or Squiddly's probably thinking that the Mrs. Arpia is probably a much bigger part of this than she likely is.
Make an investigation check.
Cool. I don't suppose Pidlwick could be able to assist, given that Pidlwick's also looking at the board?
Yeah. Well, it depends. Does Pidlwick want to assist?
I'll try and assist, but Pidlwick's assistance is he overheard them say his reach knows no bounds, and he's interpreted that as he has really long arms. So he takes out a piece of paper, writes long arms on it, and then pins it to the board next to Ranulph Ilvaster.
We're looking for a mystical type character. Well, I got a 17 then.
17. Reading over some of the notes that the heroes of the lamp have written, Squiddly, you think that it's possible that this Ranulph Ilvaster has spies and agents that work for him, and that Mrs. Arpia may have been one of them. You can't work out why they would want to kidnap Pidlwick, except to make Pidlwick's parents feel bad.
Okay. Squiddly's gonna do a real big think about that, and then sign to the rest of the group saying, well, given everything considered, I would say that they were trying to, what was that word that Howl's uncle used, blackmail the heroes of the lamp. And well, if the heroes are in trouble, then we, as their natural substitutes and their natural auxiliary hero team, would be the next in charge, the next in line to solve the mystery.
The B team.
The B team. So, I suppose the next question is, why does this Lord Ilvaster, the open Lord of Waterdeep, want to hurt Pidlwick's parents? Did they?
I say we should put our thinking caps on. I
Do we all-
sign this.
Do we all have
Pidlwick
matching thinking caps?
retrieves from his bag a hat that is labelled "thinking cap"
Yeah.
and swaps out his little jester's hat for it.
The
all
four
do.
investigators all have thinking caps, apparently, that they wear when they are solving a mystery. They are shaped like a question mark.
Good God.
Jenks will also pull out a smaller one and put it on Cuddles' head.
Incredible.
I love it.
The toy owlbear is now also wearing a little question mark thinking cap. You know as
Okay.
well that these caps have been enchanted, that they will boost your collective ability to work out problems. Jenks has cast spells over them.
Okay.
Love it. I'm gonna go up to the board and write Pidlwick. Why? And then stand there like this. And scratch the imaginary beard that I've seen people do when they think.
Okay.
I'm gonna sign and say, well, we know that clearly Howell's uncle knows some about this, and clearly there'd be people working for Lord Ilvast who also know more about this, so I would suggest that perhaps we either track down a Zentarum agent. This child is not going to know how absurd an idea that is.
Mhm.
Or we track down someone who works for the Open Lord of Waterdeep and see if we can find out anything from them. Do we know any Zentarum agents?
I know 3.
We know many.
Yeah, do we know if Lyra?
Do
I
we
know.
know about Lyra?
Well, actually, yeah, would Alec have told
Yeah.
Pidlwick?
Do we know about that?
Would we know that they're a ex-agent?
Pidlwick knows that Lyra is an ex-Zentarum agent, and may share that information. Pidlwick also knows that Cecile is an ex-Zentarum agent, but she has gone off with the adventurers. You know of Thomas, obviously. But Pidlwick, you do... You have been adventuring for some time. You know how to recognise a Zentarum agent if you saw one in the black leather armour with the serpent motifs, but you would need to go and find one to be able to do that. You all know where the offices of the Open Lord are. They are in the castle, which is where all of the administration is done. The castle ward is about a 2-hour trip on foot for children. To get there, so those are possibilities.
1 hour with me in the party. Says so on my character sheet.
Oh, you can halve distances travelling across cities.
I believe Squiddly also has that.
Excellent. Well, there you are. It's an
Does
hour
it
then.
stack?
It's something about being a street urchin.
Yeah, you know
He's
your
going
way
to
around the
travel at
streets.
4 times the speed of a regular person.
It's the power of the cartwheel. Pidlwick doesn't have that feature. I don't even think Pidlwick has a background.
Pidlwick,
Have you
you
seen-
I
spent,
also have it.
yeah, there you are. You spent enough time around your friends to have picked up some of their tips and tricks, and they help you. They're helping you become more of a kind of less of a
boy,
robot and more of a real boy. Yeah, I didn't want to
I'm a
say
real
it, but there
boy.
we are.
Sorry, I was going to say, Squiddly will sign saying that, well, there is one other thing that Howell's uncle mentioned. Didn't he say that there was something that happened at, the cafe? Was it 3 days ago? By the sounds of things, that seems like that was also related to this. We could always...
From that, I will say that this letter was 3 days old.
By the gods, we have a lead!
Pidlwick points to the... Oh, we don't have the letter with us. Pidlwick writes the person's name that we got and then points to it. And then points in the vague direction of the tax office.
I think...
Wait, he doesn't know where that is.
The offices. I would
Pidlwick
assume.
spins around 360 degrees, then points in a direction. Well, I would say that means then that we either interrogate Howell's uncle for information, or we perhaps go to the tax office and ask.
Have we done any interrogations before, Mr. DM?
Yes. Yes, you have.
You're muted. Oh, there we go.
Probably
Did
a
we
child's
interrogate?
imagination.
We interrogated that cat that drank my milk.
You've
We never
you've,
found out what he did with it.
you've solved a few mysteries. That's why you're the 4 investigators. You've solved a few mysteries. You managed to rescue a stuttering parrot that had been kidnapped.
So
by
specific.
Yep. That had been kidnapped. You investigated a possible haunted house. And discovered that the owner was still alive and was artificially haunting the place. That was a fun adventure, and you've solved kind of like smaller things, like occasionally Ben puts things away in places that he shouldn't have, and you are the only people able to find. Yeah, exactly. You're the only people able to find them. Teaspoons always go missing, and you are constantly being employed to find the missing teaspoons.
We solved the case of the missing brie.
Yep.
Génie had eaten it.
Yep. You uncovered the fact that Génie had been secreting brie back to his room.
Genie can control his urges, alright?
It's not like I'm brie addict.
So, what are you? So, you still have homework to do. What would you?
Is it
what
for
would you like to do?
Latin class? Because our teacher's dead now.
Yeah, to be fair, what class was it for?
This was for maths.
Shame. I've not asked this question in an incredible amount of time, but Dan, when is our homework due for?
You have some that is due tomorrow and needs to be completed tonight.
Childhood simulator.
Does Pidlwick know that Alex Simulacrum is out researching stuff?
Yes.
Pidlwick looks very sad because normally he just gets Alex Simulacrum to do his maths homework.
Okay, well, Squiddly is going to pull out a magnifying glass, if I'm allowed to have that, Dan, I assume, and is going to stare real close to the board where it's like, you know, where Nat had written Pidlwick Y, and say, or sign, well, it seems that we have a few options then. Do we want to go and speak to Howell's uncle, or do we want to go and ask this person at the tax office, whatever that means?
I reply, tax.
I agree.
And then say, what is tax? And I'll go find the dictionary.
Okay, you find a dictionary, you look up tax.
It's boring.
What does it say, Dan?
You believe that it's the reverse of an allowance. It's money that you have to give back to the people who ultimately give you
Do
money.
I have an allowance, Dan?
No, you don't.
Yeah. What's an allowance?
No, you know what an allowance is because some of your friends have an allowance. Pidlwick, for example, has an allowance, but tax seems to be the reverse of that.
I mean, Pidlwick doesn't have an allowance as much as Pidlwick is. I realised this earlier in the session. We've said before, like, you know, as our normal characters, we've had Pidlwick work at the cafe.
Yeah, Pidlwick's got a job.
Super illegal.
Pidlwick has a job.
Chronologically speaking, Pidlwick's not a child. He's like several hundred years old.
Yeah, okay, right. I believe. Does that mean that we are using child labour through a loophole? That's not much of a moral high ground.
But it's not like our entire business is standing on the fact that we use children for labour.
It doesn't mean it's not happening.
We have one child that helps out.
We owe 100,000
around
gold in tax, Alistair. Our business isn't standing.
Right. Okay. Squiddly is going to suggest that we sneak out. Forget the homework. This is far more interesting and far more important. You know that the heroes' lives are at stake potentially, and maybe ours.
We just point out that Miles has a
But
cat on his shoulder.
If we don't do it, he's going to jump on my lap at some point, but I'm just resigned to that. But if we don't do our homework, we'll get detention.
Well, and I'll be signing this. What if we, I don't know, convince Ben to do our homework, perhaps? Maybe Ben would do it. We could convince Ben that... We're extremely
the kind of person-
traumatized.
If we can steal the letter, and Jenks will sign this, I can potentially help. I just need the letter.
I thought you were going to say if we steal the letter, we can blackmail Ben into doing our homework.
So this is the thing, obviously, I'm used to Tony asking as Oriana, and immediately, if that was Oriana saying that, I'd be like, you're going to do something horrible, aren't you? You're going to commit a crime.
Maybe.
So, what do you want to do?
Stealing a letter is crime.
What do you want? So, the options that you've identified are: do your homework, interrogate Howl's uncle, go to the tax office and try and discover what you can learn there, steal the letter, or an as yet unidentified fifth option. What would you like to do?
Where does it say if I'm like lawful good?
You're a child, your morality is a roulette wheel.
Yeah, I was going to say, as children, you're probably all neutral good at that.
Okay. I'm going to look at the math homework and just write down numbers that look like they could be correct answers
Okay.
according to the question.
I think
But,
Squiddly's
like-
going to copy Nat.
But not spending any time just like, if it's an algebraic type question, then an algebraic type answer.
Yeah.
Not that 9-year-olds be doing algebra, but like, fractions
Rush
or...
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then pin it to the board and say, let's go!
Sounds good to me.
I assume we all copy your homework.
Oh, yeah, we're all copying Nat, surely.
We're all going to hand in the exact same wrong piece of homework tomorrow.
Don't make it obvious.
All right, off you go. Where are you going?
Wait,
Guess we have to find out where the
to
tax
the
office
office?
is.
Are you going
Yeah.
to attempt to steal the letter on your way?
Do we need the letter?
Well, I think we should
Please-
try and
Please steal the
sneak
letter.
Jenks has an idea.
I have an idea.
We should try
I
and
have an
steal the
idea.
letter without Ben seeing us, though, because then
So
we might get in trouble.
back down in the main room of the cafe, Ben and Lyra are clearing tables. The heroes have, through Ben, hired other members of staff. There are other wait staff and bar staff and kitchen staff that have come on board over the last few weeks. Ben has gradually been hiring in, but it is very busy. Ben and Lyra aren't paying any attention as you come down the stairs. A cursory glance of the tavern indicates that Ben has left a bunch of paperwork on the bar. The bar is currently staffed by a 19-year-old human man who is working here during the university break.
How old is Ben?
Ben's 19.
Okay.
18.
Does he
Ben's
look like
18.
Ben?
He's not had his birthday yet.
Does it look like Ben? Is like an older
That's
brother
our
or
next
something
one shot. Ben's birthday.
Yeah.
No, they don't look anything alike.
I think coming downstairs, and we can assume then the letter is still kind of where it was before then, is that the case?
Or in the pile of paperwork?
Yeah, Ben had picked it up and gone away with it, but you can see that Ben has a particular way of stacking papers, so that, kind of like one lengthways, one widthways sort of thing, that the heroes are too disorganised to do themselves. Only Ben could stack papers like that, and there are a pile of them on the bar.
Okay, I have an idea. And I was signing this. I assume we know which one of us is good at stealthing.
That would be Squiddly, I believe, because Squiddly, Squiddly has a +3 to stealth and considers himself a rogue, I think.
Okay.
I also have a
My-
+3 to stealth.
I actually have a +4 to stealth.
I have a +2, so...
+4 sounds good to me.
+4 sounds very good.
So, my suggestion is to the party of highly experienced adventurers of this age. The three of us go up to the bar and distract Mr. Bar Person, while the one of us goes picks up the paper, sorts through, finds the one we need, puts them back.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Works for me.
Which three of you are going up? Sorry.
I'm really bad at stealth for being deaf. Can't hear my own footsteps. So it's not me.
So I think it's going to be Nat, Jenks, and Squiddly, right, that are going to be causing a bit of a distraction while
And then
Pidlwick.
Yep. Okay.
How is Pidlwick the one who's good at stealth?
Because Pidlwick's like the most accomplished out of
Pidlwick-
all of us, basically.
Pidlwick is also allowed behind the bar because he works here.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
I
genius!
have employee privilege.
Does that just... Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay. So you three go up to the bar and climb onto stools, I imagine.
Yeah.
Because you're
Well,
too
we'll
small
go-
to see over the top of the bar. And serving drinks is as I say, a 19-year-old human man in a white shirt, black waistcoat, black trousers, and he has a name tag on that's kind of the tag is in the shape of a lamp with a little puff of smoke coming out of it, and the name on it says Sam.
Well, just for reference, we're going to go like as far down the bar we can.
Yep.
From the paper, and if he's not over there, then we'll like get his attention. Clicks.
You get his attention.
I was going to say, by means of a getting Sam's attention, can Squiddly pull out his toy bow and arrow and point it directly at Sam's face and say, "Sam, look what I can do!" And like as Sam was attempting to pour drinks and such, point his bow and arrow at the various bottles and such behind the bar.
Okay. Are you actually going to fire it, or are you
No,
pretending? Okay.
not at all.
Okay, make a performance check.
Cool.
I'm going to sign. This is a stick-up.
Is that just holding your fingers up?
Okay, so you are you're just waving this bow and arrow around the place, kind of without. But it is enough to really scare both the DM and Sam. And Sam will kind of come rushing over and go, no, put it down.
I'll go along with that. I'll just keep fighting off Sam and just kind of like trying to but look, I can do it with one hand, Sam.
He says, "Put it down, you brat," and tries to grab it from you. Pidlwick, what are you doing?
Seeing the opportunity, I think to myself, what would Oriana do? And then I attempt to copy how she stealths around the bar.
I want you to make for me, please, 2 checks. A stealth check to sneak around the bar and a sleight of hand check to get the paper. You have advantage on both of these checks because your companions have created a suitable distraction.
Okay, stealth first. Stealth is a 15, and sleight of hand is a 19.
Okay. How do you do this?
So I fold my torso backwards like I'm limboing, so no one can see me, and I just sort of walk stealthily. And then as I reach up, I fold up, and my legs extend, so I'm hidden behind the paper. And I go down the edge of each piece of paper, checking to see which one of them is the piece of the one we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And then whichever one it is, I lift all the paper above it up, slide it out, then rotate the paper so that the orientation remains, the method remains the same.
Alternating. Yeah.
And then borrowing a trick I've learned from Alec, I fold the paper up and I store it in my mouth because I don't need to eat food.
Okay, that's what you do. Make for me, please, Squiddly, that's your name, a contested acrobatics check to try to prevent Sam from grabbing the bow.
Charge
from
complete.
Acrobatics, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. That is a 22.
Alright, Sam is desperately trying to grab this bow from you, but you're able to keep kind of moving it out of the way.
As that's happening, I'll be like, "Sam, have you ever shot a bow and arrow in a closed room before with lots of glass bottles around?"
He says, "No, because I'm not an idiot," as he's trying to grab it from you.
I'll say, "Oh, I'm a child. What's your excuse?" Does that work, I assume?
he is frustrated by this and keeps trying to get the bow from you. You notice that Pidlwick is done with getting the paper.
Once Pidlwick is done, I will kind of like hop backwards off the bar stool that I was like standing on and put my short bow away and say, "Wow, Sam, you really taught me a lesson in terms of morality and how to behave as a proper, mature person. Thank you so much. Goodbye." And then I'm gonna turn to like Leggy.
Okay. He stands there baffled.
Before Jenks leaves from the bar, he's going to look at Sam with like quite a quizzical face before going, "You have a wrinkle right here," and then he's going to leave.
Okay.
He's 19.
Yeah.
Nat's gonna continue with the finger guns, and without breaking eye contact or moving them, is gonna casually get off and walk away, still facing Sam.
All right. You all regroup.
Yeah, I mean, I assume so.
And then you head to...
I assume we're legging it to the tax office.
Direction of where we think the tax office might be.
Okay, you can run towards the castle.
At twice the speed.
Yeah, twice the speed.
Strictly speaking, 3 times the speed. Hello, it will be twice. It takes 7 minutes to make a 2-hour journey.
Well, as you push through
the Flash.
You push through the cafe door and make your way out into the cool evening air and head off in the direction of the castle. This is where we're going to take our break. We'll have 10 minutes or so as a break here. So we'll come back to play the second half of Childish Things at 25 to. So do stick with us. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Role play amongst yourselves for a little while.
Just the dragons.
Let us indeed, as Alistair says, play Dungeons and Dragons. We're back. The children of Génie's lamp, Pidlwick, Alex's adopted robot son, and his friends, Squiddly, Net, and Jenks, were attacked by a harpy that had been in the guise of one of their teachers. Attempting to kidnap Pidlwick, they were rescued by Thomas Blackwood, Howell's Zentarim leader uncle, who as a certified psychopath is on dodgy ground with the party at present. The children returning to the lamp ate pancakes and discovered that it's possible that there was a plot to kidnap Pidlwick in order to blackmail Pidlwick's family. Picking up this mystery, the 4 investigators also discovered that a large amount of tax, whatever that might be, is owed by the lamp to the Open Lord, and they, believing that this is all wrapped up together in some sort of big grand mystery, are now on their way with a copy of the tax demand to the tax office of Waterdeep at this evening hour. They're making their way through the streets, trying to get there to find out more about what just almost happened to Pidlwick. Make for me, please, survival checks, all of you.
Oh, I'm good at this.
To see how well you navigate the streets of Waterdeep to get up to the castle.
I got a spicy 12.
13.
I also got a
9.
12, but I add 4 to that. 16.
So, you all managed to make it there in reasonably record time, using a combination of back alleys, climbing over scaffolding, running over a few rooftops, diving into piles of cardboard boxes and flower beds. You manage to nimbly make your way around the city and arrive at the castle. It's about 5 o'clock in the evening at this point, You see there is a flood of people leaving the castle as the workday concludes. What would you like to do?
Jenks will ask Pidlwick for the letter.
Pidlwick opens his mouth and then retrieves the letter, the folded letter, unfolds it neatly.
Is it folded in pieces? You know, kind of like that, or is it just like a letter? You know, that kind of like length bit that you've just kind of like stuffed down like sword swallowing have pulled down.
It would be a funnier visual gag if I just pull out the letter completely intact.
Yes.
Like a printer.
Presumably, you know, like
Pidlwick casts minor illusion to make like a printing noise as he does it, but no one quite knows why, because printers haven't been invented yet.
Yeah, you just pull out a full piece of paper.
I hand it.
It's warm.
Now, if I cast distort value on this letter, will it change the value of the tax?
There's a genuine point to that. I think that's pretty alright. The value is in the number, right?
Argue for me why it would change the value of the tax.
We don't want to do it on here.
The letter is a statement of the value of the tax. So it in itself is declaring the value of the tax, so it is the value of the tax.
The value owed.
In the same way that your bank statement is what you have in your account because it's your representation of that, I feel it comes under the same kind of bracket there.
Welcome to Ontological Argument Simulator.
I mean, if you think about it, like a bill is basically the exact inverse of a check. It's delivering you it's a check for negative money. So technically, if you change the value of that negative money, it would change the value, the item of the value. How
else could you represent the value if not via the written indication of the tax itself, right?
Okay, you have philosophically convinced me that that if you were to cast distort value on this tax demand, you could change the amount demanded. Would you like to do so?
Yes, absolutely.
To what are you distorting the value?
Well, technically, rules as written, it's half the value.
Okay.
That's still more than we have in our pocket
money.
money.
Cast it?
It takes a minute to cast it.
How many times can you cast it?
I can cast it twice.
Okay.
You can get him down to 25,000 gold.
Well,
I think Alec has that on hand.
I was going to say Hal definitely has that much, so...
Okay.
No, half then half again.
You lay the piece of paper on the ground, and you pull out...
Why did we come all the way here to do this?
You pull out all the materials that you need for this spell. And you start kind of... Yeah, you pull out a little pot of Tipex, and you cast distort value and amend the value on there. You wait for the Tipex to dry, and then you do it again, and casting distort value to change the value of this bill down from 100,000 to 50,000 to 25,000. So mark off your spell slots for
Is that tax fraud? Have we just committed tax fraud?
And
children, we don't know what taxes are.
and there you are. You now have this distorted value bill.
Excellent. We can give this to the taxman and say, this is the value it should be. We heard our parents' friends worrying about a big sum of money, but it's incorrect, it's this.
That sounds convincing enough to me.
I see no reason why the taxman wouldn't believe this.
My childish innocence demand that I believe that to make complete sense, so...
Surely because we've changed the value owed on this letter, surely that would just change the value owed, like, that they have in their record. Would they have a different value?
You make an excellent point.
We've
Our work
decreased
here
the
is
value-
done.
There's
decreased the
no
value
way.
of the tax they claim that we owe. So surely in their records it would have also decreased there.
There's no way that Pidlwick can make the argument that because the message they now sent to us is incorrect, that we could get the tax bill completely written off because of government mistakes.
Charge complete.
Like if you have a speeding fine and they attach the wrong street to it, it doesn't matter that they've got photographic evidence of you speeding. They've still made the mistake and are accusing you of the wrong crime.
No, knowing that as you do from personal experience.
Yeah, I mean, all those times I speed in my car that I can't drive. I don't even have a car.
Well, yeah, you can't drive it because you sped so many times you got your license revoked.
Definitely why. I definitely just couldn't afford to take driving lessons.
So,
Wait till you're much older than your mum pays.
you have this...
Get out of my house.
You have this distorted value bill in your hands. What are you doing with it?
Well, answer the question. Do we know if the overall
Make
value of the
Arcana
bill...
checks.
Oh no! I've put Alec to shame there. That's a 4.
Okay.
Answer
Dirty 20.
Done about as normal as Howell would in this case and gotten a 3.
All right.
11.
Jenks, you know that magic takes quite a while to take effect sometimes, and its effects have to radiate out over a distance, so you think it's a good idea that you did it near the castle, because then things can radiate a bit closer. But you do wonder whether, because your magic was so focused and so concentrated there, that it might be worth making sure it took effect elsewhere, but you do believe it will take effect. The rest of you know that in circumstances of magic, you defer to Jenks.
I think we should go in and make sure it worked. Just to be sure.
Well, I mean, we could go in and, in order to avoid suspicion, say we were sent by our friend's parents to just double check this is indeed the right value. That they intend to pay it in full as soon as possible, provided we get the confirmation that it is as it appears.
Remember that Pidlwick is a valid employee.
True.
Well,
Pidlwick
Pidlwick
produces
works
his
with them,
employee
yeah.
card.
Does that? Do we have like a group kind of like? Is there a way that Pidlwick could essentially, pay that off then, like with the group's funds, or does that not work like that?
Pidlwick.
Don't let Pidlwick spend all our money.
Has Pidlwick been entrusted with a company credit card?
No.
Ooh.
No.
So I
Now-
think that'd be great, but I think Howell will be like not in 1,000 years.
No.
Yeah, I think
I think people with company credit cards are Génie and Ben.
Probably.
Would-
yeah. that's gonna-
Yeah.
Okay, but this is now a question. Would Pidlwick have learnt details of be able to write out kind of the details
you-
of where to charge
Are you
something
asking,
to?
are you asking
No.
if Pidlwick knows Alec's credit card number?
Well, I think Alec
He buys all those V-Bucks with it.
Alec has so much money relative to how much he actually has to spend it on that he just gives Pidlwick money whenever he asks without questioning it. So I reckon Pidlwick could probably produce Alec's money with very little effort, but I don't think he can charge stuff to the company.
Okay.
Alec pays for Pidlwick's rooms.
He just bills
Membership.
Alec with everything. He just goes up to Alec and is like, "Can I have 200 gold?" Alec doesn't question. Is like, "Yep, there you go."
So the answer to the question is no. You don't have 25,000 gold or access to 25,000 gold.
No, but I could write a check, a bill personally to Alec, and he would probably just pay it.
That's a convincing point.
What are you doing with this bill now?
Well,
We'll
I think
double check it for the sake of Pidlwick's parents.
I think going in and presenting it first would then, because they might just, frankly, given the fact that we've done magic on it, they might just turn around and say this has clearly been tip-exed.
I say the opposite. I say we go in and say we understand. We obviously this is adult speak, not children's.
Yeah.
We understand we owe money. Can you verify the amount we owe? Let them come to us with the amount. If it's low, we say yes. Ish. If it's high, we say, well, hang on. And then show them our letter.
That sounds convincing enough to me. I like that. Let's do that.
Okay.
Pidlwick writes down that.
You head in to the castle, and I need you to make survival. Well, you head into the castle. The castle, when you enter it, you enter into the main foyer of the castle, which is a large oval room with a big circular desk occupying the middle of it. That several clerks are milling about. Some are putting on their coats and turning, and kind of extinguishing candles and turning off, turning off. I was going to say turning off lamps. I'm trying to work out how gas lamps.
Putting out candles.
Shutting off gas lamps and so on, and getting ready to go home. There are people milling around from several doors. Most of the doors in this room, there are 4 doors in each of the cardinal directions. You've just come in through one of them. That are open because people are filing in and out. There are signs saying, what part of the castle certain parts of the offices are. There are still clerks, as I say, behind the desk. There are people milling about. There are open doors. What would you like to do?
Pidlwick has assumed business mode and has pinned a fake mustache to his face.
You say it was closing time, basically.
It's 5 o'clock. It's going home time.
Given that some people are starting to leave, I think Squiddly is going to, using his flair for the dramatic, kind of pull down his hood, gesture towards all the people about to leave and say, "We have a tax inquiry. A very serious one. Will somebody attend to us, please?"
Make a performance check.
That's an 8.
Nobody pays you any attention.
Squiddly's going to sigh and then start yelling louder and say, "I'm an unattended child in a tax office. I will file things. So help me gods, I will file things!"
Pidlwick starts looking for a hole punch.
I'm going to walk up to the desk and write tax office on a piece of paper and go up to someone and hold it in front of their face.
Okay.
Incredible.
You hold it up in front of in front of a very grumpy-looking clerk, an old man with a slightly overweight old man
with
a walrus. No, how do you pronounce it? Is that how you pronounce it?
Walrus.
Yeah, walrus.
Yeah, mustache. Looks down at you.
Walrus.
Looks down at you and says, Are you a child of someone who works there? Obviously.
Yes.
Well, no. Well, he is saying this.
The confidence of a 9-year-old.
He's saying this. He just speaks louder.
Jenks, hearing him speaking louder.
I write down where and hold it up.
He says, "It's through those doors and 5 floors up."
Thanks. Bye.
Squiggly, someone puts their hand on your shoulder.
I take it down.
Squiddly is going to very slowly look over their shoulder with a great sense of fear.
There is a tall woman stood over you with long black hair that is plaited down her back. She wears a kind of navy blue off black robe that is buckled around her waist with a belt in blue. She's reasonable. For the benefit of the audience, she is. How is this phrased? She is not someone that Squiggly recognises, but Pidlwick recognises her. So Pidlwick, you recognise Cecile Dubois, who you have seen with the heroes from time to time. Squiggly, there is a strange woman staring down at you.
We sent her.
Squiddly is going to look up and, after a moment, blurt out, "It seems that I've found my way now, and I'll no longer be needing the assistance of an adult.
She kind of lifts her hand
Shout
gently
stranger danger.
off your shoulder and says, "Well, that's encouraging. Well done, young man. Are you quite all right? Are you lost?"
Squiddly's gonna like pause for a moment, blink very slowly, and say, "No, I don't know you." I'm just gonna try and start walking away.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk up to her, start pulling the hem of her robe, and like, I sign, "Where's Alec?" She doesn't speak sign language.
Well, because she was in the Zentarium, and because most of Nat's sign language is based on thieves' cant, like not all of it, but like Uncle Thomas, she can decipher a bit of it, and she says to you, she kneels down, so she's at your level, if not slightly below you, and says to you, says, Your father and the other parents," she looks a bit puzzled, "are off adventuring. They're currently in a big library somewhere, tracking down a man and a book. They're working with a queen. It's all very exciting, Pidlwick. It's all very exciting, and they've sent me back to Waterdeep to make sure that nothing goes awry with the cafe. I understand that they may owe a large amount of money to someone, and I'm here to make sure that it all works out well in the end."
Insight check.
Yep.
I am suspicious. Ooh, it's a good roll. 17.
She's concealing something, certainly, but she's trying to placate you.
I'm gonna sign, "What aren't you telling me?"
How much does she know of what went down?
A fair bit, realistically, because it was only after we met with Raedra that we were like, okay, I think she suggested that she was to go home.
She would go back and help.
The only things that she doesn't know is what actually happened at the library. When things really
post library activities.
Yeah.
She says to you, Pidlwick, all right. I'm, as well as helping your parents with their money problems, I'm also here on a really important mission. You mustn't tell anyone about it, okay? Someone is about to die. And
Pidlwick looks around.
Everyone was like...
And she's whispering this to Pidlwick, and I've been tasked with preventing it happening. And your parents have been a great help to me, because now that I've spoken particularly to Oriana, I know all the tricks of the trade.
The face that Tony's making right now.
I know all the tricks of the trade, and I can make sure to keep people safe, and to make sure that this person that I have to protect is well protected.
Who do you have to protect?
Ranulf Ilvaster.
Mother...
I mean, to be honest, I'm perfectly fine if she totally murders him,
I think... I can't say anything.
Now that
Can-
Oriana has told me everything that she knows about how assassins work, I can make sure that Ranulf is kept safe.
So she's looking after Ranulf and not killing him.
I was going to say, it seems like she's
Yes.
making Ranulf.
Definitely.
And we've been fully double-crossed here, gang.
She'll never expect a child.
What the fuck?
She winks at you, Pidlwick, and then she will stand up and say, "Well, you're all rather far away from home. I assume you don't live in this
We now
castle."
got to kill an assassin.
We are 4 children at level 1. I don't think we're doing anything to her.
Level.
I hope you keep safe. She looks down at Pidlwick and says, "And I hope that we see your parents again very soon. I sense that things are about to change for them. and she will bow to you all and walk off.
Things are about to change from smash cut to Hal throwing his like prized family heirloom into a sphere of annihilation.
Alex about to prove the theory that if Oriana jumped off a cliff, he would absolutely jump off too.
Frankly, no matter which character we'll play, if Oriana jumped off a cliff, we're gonna jump.
Yeah, I mean, Oriana, if Oriana jumped off a cliff, she would have done her due diligence regarding the height of the cliff and the likelihood of surviving. So I would be perfectly willing to jump off any cliff that Oriana's already jumped off.
Without hesitation.
I mean, Oriana's got winged boots, so falling doesn't matter to her.
We never said we were small.
So this brief interlude completed. What are your plans?
Did it sound like Did it sound like to Pidlwick that Dubois was still going to help with the tax issue?
What did Pidlwick make of it?
Well, she said about the tax issue, but then she said she had to protect the open lord, which must be a full-time job. So we should probably go deal with the tax while she's not watching.
Oh, damn, I hate this.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a child, I know I'm like, yeah, well, that's great. We should go and deal with the tax thing because this friend of Pidlwick's parents is going to go and deal with this. That's great. Yippee! As a player, I'm yeah.
As a player, I hate that I know information that I shouldn't know for another character.
Right.
I hate knowing
I didn't get the sense that she was concealing anything else, did I? She was concealing something, and then she told me the truth.
Yes.
But she's double crossing. Did you understand that she was double crossing our parents? Your parents?
Make an insight check.
Your father.
So what does Pidlwick actually know about that whole deal? Because Pidlwick knows you don't trust Lord Ilvaster, right? Basically.
Yeah. Pidlwick is Alec talks to Pidlwick a lot. So Pidlwick is as clued up on most, if not everything, as the heroes of the Lampar. So Pidlwick has that information and understands kind of the length, breadth, and depth of the conspiracy, as Alec does. So Pidlwick is fully aware of that. Pidlwick, you don't trust this woman because of her history of backstabbing and double crossing. Equally, you also know that it's unlikely that she does actually intend to protect anyone.
Yes.
What's even worse is Nat, don't know this information either.
Nope.
What makes it even
Only
worse
Alistair knows this information out of me, Nat, and Génie.
What makes it even worse is that Connor, assumed that Cecile was a bit of a MILF, and now that she's going to betray us, I'm upset. I'm distraught.
But if villain evil, why hot?
Exactly. Anyway.
Well, we should, if someone's going to attack Lord Ilvas, I assume Cecile's not watching us carefully to see what we sign to each other.
She's walked away completely.
We can help protect Lord Ilvaster, and then he will forgive. He won't ask our parents for money. My parents for money if we help find who's going to kill him.
Pidlwick says our parents before correcting himself.
Just to clarify, obviously, the rest of us, we're all kind of Pidlwick's friends, and we're all kind of sort of. Do we have our own parents, or is it kind of like we are all orphans of the streets of Waterdeep type situation?
You are all orphans of the streets of Waterdeep.
Alex just adopted 3 more kids.
I was going to say you've made a mistake there, Miles.
It's fine. There's 2 Alex. They can split time for 2 kids each. If Alec was human, he could learn clone, and then there'd be 3 of him. That's not how.
I was gonna say Oriana would happily train a mini rogue.
Howl wouldn't. Howl would get this overgrown rat away from me. What is this creature?
Génie's the only responsible one of the group.
Yeah.
What would he do in regards to parenting children?
Sorry, I was putting you chat Bugberry Kill ran up to one Uncle Thomas.
Kill Ranulph Ilvaster.
Yeah, easy.
And then spend the rest of my time killing him again.
I'd not have time to do do either of the
Well, whilst you ponder that particular minigame, what are the kids
Don't call it
doing?
minigame.
Right, I don't think Nat would have noticed the extended interaction between Pidlwick and unnamed lady I don't know the name of, and would have carried on towards the corridor and got to the door, turned around and looked, and hoped by that point their conversation will have ended.
Okay, so you see Nat, presumably followed by Jenks, who was nearby, standing over at one of the doors.
Okay, seeing that, obviously Pidlwick's just kind of suggested that we try and work out who wants to kill Lord Ilvaster. Squiddly is going to kind of grab Pidlwick by the arm, point towards the other two, and try and regroup us a little bit. Run us over.
All right.
And then when we're all together, Squiddly is going to say, in sign language, saying that, well, Pidlwick's... We've just spoken to somebody who seems to know a little more about the situation, and given their knowledge, I think we could probably help Pidlwick's or our parents? Maybe by
our parents.
Our parents.
Our parents.
Hopefully, our parents. Be nice. By either working out who wants to hurt Lord Ilvaster, and then maybe we could get Lord Ilvaster back in their parents as good books. I don't know. Or failing that, we should at least try and deal with this tax thing. We're here already, so I figured let's try with the tax thing and see what happens.
But what if Lord Ilvaster dies while we're sorting our taxes out?
He's a bad man. He needs to go down.
Jenks calls for the extrajudicial killing of the Open Lord of Waterdeep, age 9.
I mean, that would be Alex style, you know. Extrajudicial killings are a perfectly valid punishment in his mind.
Yeah, shout out to what was Victor Castellanta?
Victoria Castellanta. He's missing, presumed dead, but there's
missing, presumed literal swept under the rug in form of dust.
Yeah. And in about 8 years, he will be declared dead.
You have this conversation whilst you make your way up 5 floors to the tax office, which is very helpfully and clearly labelled Open Lord of Waterdeep, Revenue and Customs, brackets, Tax Department.
I point at the word tax, and then we're here.
Astutely observed, fellow investigator.
I straighten up my business moustache, I pull out my employee card, and I pin it to my t-shirt, so everyone knows I am in Pidlwick Victus, employee of Génie Slam. That's all it says. And I just walk up to the door.
You knock on the door.
My desk isn't as hardwood as I thought it was.
You knock on the door. There's a bit of movement behind the door. The door is opened, and someone someone opens the door above you, frowns, and then closes the door without looking down at you.
I knock again.
Okay, you knock again. They open the door and they look round, and then they look down, and they're like, "Oh, hello."
I point at my badge.
Says, Alec. Sorry, not Alec. Pidlwick Victus, employee, Génie's Lamp.
Squiddly's going to say out loud, "We've come on account of the taxes."
Right. Are your parents with you at all?
I think you'll find that Pidlwick here is a perfectly valid employee.
I see. Well, it's just about closing time, you know.
Just about.
It will only be a moment, good sir.
Okay, well, please come in. And this bewildered man lets you into the tax office.
Thank you, we will.
Is there a chair?
So,
available?
when you are in...
Do we all fit?
When you are... we should have stacked up on top of each other.
in a trench coat. That would have been hilarious.
Okay, record. We go back.
Still an hour left of the session. We can work out a reason to do that.
So you go into the tax office, and the person who let you in says, "Just wait there a moment, please," and gestures to 3 seats along a wall.
3 seats?
3 seats along a wall.
Jenks is immediately going to sit on one and then set Cuddles on another.
Okay. The man disappears into a door.
Are there any like bookshelves or anything?
Yeah. There are bookshelves and paperwork. There's desks. There are framed paintings of various different individuals, men and women, looking very pensive. There are landscape drawings. As I say, on the desks are covered in papers. There are abacuses and little scales and weights. There are books on shelves and books on tables.
Nat is gonna go up to the portraits or artwork and sort of study them for a moment, and then sort of turn around and try and pull their poses of.
Okay.
And just do each of them in turn until something happens.
Jenks and Squiddly, you overhear a conversation through the door that the person disappeared into, and it's 2 voices having a conversation. The chap who let you in is saying, 4 children profess to be from Génie's lamp, come about tax. And the other voice, another male voice, says, one of those childish things, I suppose. May as well let them in. It's been a slow day. And the first person re-emerges and says, Mr. Learlock, the tax officer, will see you now, and holds the door open to let you in.
Excellent.
In this small office, which has it's a white-walled room with a single window that overlooks the castle courtyard. There is a desk and a chair behind the desk, 2 chairs in front of the desk, several bookshelves, and a framed painting of the skyline of Waterdeep. In this room stands a human man, middle-aged, balding, with a walrus moustache. And he says he will say out loud, "I'm Aaron Learlock. I'm the tax officer for this province, and you, I understand, are from Génie's lamp." And he begins flicking through a little Rolodex, pulls out a card.
I will sign and say, "Yes. How much do we owe? How much does the lamp owe?"
Looking up at you, he says, "I'm terribly sorry. Is anybody able to translate?"
Jenks will translate.
He says, yes, bear with me. And he picks out a card from the Rolodex and says, 491. Sets the Rolodex back down, opens a big ledger, and scrolls through and says, 489, 490, 491. Yes, Génie's lamp. There's a total of. There's a bit of a smudge here. And he rubs at it and says, I can't read it at all now. Forgive me, bear with me. I'll just check through some of the records. And he goes out of the room in that moment and says, "Where's that clerk gone? We need to check through Génie's lamp, 491. Yes, but I don't know if it's out there or if it's through here. I'll come and have a look." You can see that there are some filing cabinets in this room as well that are numbered.
We gotta look for 491, right?
Level 1. Level.
Yeah.
Give it a nosy. Go on. You know you want to.
Yeah, go on. I'm gonna go. Just putting 2 and 2 together. Squiddly is going to have a quick look in the filing cabinet for 491 and just see what that says.
Make an investigation check.
Investigation.
I will also help.
So,
as I won't be able to hear.
I will keep a watch to nudge if I can hear anyone coming back.
does Nat's help give me advantage at all?
Yes.
Cool. Right, we'll find out. That is going to be
nice.
21. That's pretty good.
Okay, you very quickly find 491. It is a file on Génie's lamp detailing the date of incorporation, average number of employees in the 6-month period, gross turnover, various different bills and expenses and so on, and registration details. You turn the page and it says tax owed. and it says 100 gold pieces. And there is a post-it note stuck to it that says, by order of Ranulph Ilvaster, 100,000 build now.
Out of character. Oh my god, we need to kill this man.
So that is what.
Don't worry, I'm sure that situation will resolve itself.
That's what you find.
Steal it.
I take
Pocket
the
it.
post-it note.
Yeah, can we steal that? I want to steal that so bad.
The entire folder or the post-it note?
The post-it note.
Just take the post-it
The
note.
entire folder.
Take the post-it note, put the folder back, and then go get him. Tell him that the file is in here, and then he'll see that it says 100 gold.
Having a very quick conversation inside the mojo, but do exactly that. I'm going to take that post-it note, I'm
eat
going to
the
pan it and
post-it note.
feed it to Pidlwick.
you just
Pidlwick plays a
open-
shredding noise.
Yeah, the post-it note disappears into Pidlwick's internal cogs and machineries to be shredded.
And then we resume our previous positions.
Okay.
Don't make it. We're gonna make it look like we haven't.
Yeah, we've not moved.
I'm going to be looking at the art and trying to make poses of the art.
Okay. Walrus Moustache Man comes back through, and
His name is Aaron Learlock.
thank you. Comes back through, and begins rooting through those files. 491 Genie's Lamp. Yes, charming little place, I'm sure. Do you do brie?
I think we do. If it's in stock, she usually eats it all.
I do enjoy brie. He opens it and flicks through and says, "Oh, yes, very large quantities of brie have been ordered. Never mind, tax. That's what you're here for. Tax, yes. 100 gold pieces. Rather unremarkable little sum. Is the cafe doing well?"
Yes.
The brie is very popular.
Ah, wonderful. Well, maybe tax price. Maybe the tax owed will increase then over time. But 100 gold pieces. What seems to be the trouble, Mr. Victus?
I signed that we lost the letter. Our boss lost the letter. Can he issue a new one?
You want
Jenks will translate.
You want a new tax invoice issued?
Dated today, if possibly.
Well, yes.
If that is a letter confirming how much is owed, yes.
I would like you to, as a group, make a collective charisma persuasion check.
The fact that these 4 children are about to absolutely game the tax system.
I don't understand why we need to persuade him.
Yeah.
He works in a tax office. Asking for a bill is a very normal thing.
We are literally just asking him for information that we are legally entitled to.
I got the
soft
right
20.
Okay,
17.
Okay, and Jenks? A 2.
Natural 20.
Okay.
All in that one.
2 20s though, surely that counts as something.
He goes over to his desk, pulls out a sheet of
persuasion?
paper, and starts scribbling something out, and says, "Yes, of course, that's absolutely no trouble at all. Why, you could have simply asked for that at the desk." And scribbles
I
out.
signed it.
Pidlwick sides.
They
I am a
would-
child. I do not know how tax works.
And writes out 100 gold pieces, Aaron Learlock, and dates it today, and hands you the piece of paper. Pidlwick.
I
Thank
store
you,
it where I
good
store
sir.
all things.
Is it quite safe there? Would you like a briefcase?
Very. Pidlwick is safe.
I,
For your troubles.
I take the briefcase he offers me.
Yeah.
No.
okay. He stands back and says, "Well, I think that's enough fun and games for one day, don't you? Why don't we all go home? It must be getting close to bedtime."
I go
Squiddly's
to
gonna
shake his hand,
Okay, yeah, he'll shake your hand.
and I sort of bow as a thank you, and then I start to walk out.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And I
Squiddly's
say,
gonna hop
nice art.
Okay.
Jenks will offer some sweets as for your troubles, good sir.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
hands him a Werther's original.
Yeah.
I hand him a business card for Genie's lamp, which I produce from my mouth.
And on the other side of it, the 4 investigators.
Incredible.
Obviously.
He looks and says, "Oh, very, very enterprising of you. You'll be paying tax in no time."
Squiddly will look at the Aaron, was it? Aaron
Yeah.
Lol? Yeah, we'll say,
Aaron Learlock.
hopefully not, but would you look at the time? We've got homework to do doing tomorrow. Goodbye.
Okay.
And we hightail it out there at
We're gonna
7 times the speed.
Yeah, scamper out at 7 times speed. Like, you know that noise that they make in Scooby-Doo when they run around? That like...
Okay, yeah, you do so. You race round a corridor on your way out. You race around a corridor so fast that you collide with 3 people. And there is a commotion as the 4 of you kind of running like round a corner at speed, bundle into these people. You all kind of end up on the ground. 2 of the individuals get back to their feet very quickly and begin shoving you kind of like across the floor out of the way towards the walls, and you discover that you have spears pointed at the 4 of you.
Do we recognise anybody who we've run into?
You have collided with 2 people who are holding spears at you who look very unfamiliar. You have never seen them before in your lives. And a man who you have only seen in a picture that has been recently defaced to have a mustache put on it.
Stranger danger!
Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
The guards say, "What are you doing here? Where are your parents?"
We got lost!
Pidlwick points at his employee badge.
One of the guards looks down and says, "Victus Génie's lamp. What are you doing in the castle?" And
we got lost.
We got lost.
The other man, the 3rd man, whose face you've only seen in a recently defaced and bemustached picture, stands up and says, "Excuse me, did you say Victus from Génie's lamp? Oh, you must be Pidlwick, Alex boy. My boy. I'm so sorry. Stand back, please. These are fantastic friends of mine." And the guards kind of step back and allow you to stand.
I sort of nudge Jenks and I still say stranger danger. But obviously inside.
Stranger danger.
Lord Ranulph Ilvaster, the Open Lord of
backing away.
Waterdeep, will say to you all, My, no, please, don't worry. Just make it back home safely, alright? It's coincidental, you must be here with Oriana.
No.
Well, I have a meeting with Oriana, that's where I'm on my way to now. Do you want to...
Pidlwick pulls out a piece of paper and writes, "Not Oriana is not here," and underlines here, and then underlines Oriana.
Oriana is not here. Well, I'm afraid you're mistaken. I have a meeting with her in my office now. I'm on my way there.
I take the paper. I circle Oriana and I show it to him.
I don't like this.
What? It says, "Young man, forgive me, I'm trying to understand what you mean. Are you trying to say that Oriana isn't here?"
Yeah.
Well,
yes,
where is she?
Squiddly
Right, call me.
Don't say that. Squiddly's going to say
Oriana's
that loudly.
in Cormier. Yes, no.
I think
They went to visit Queen Raedra, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, they returned to Waterdeep a short time ago.
Oh.
Yes, they sent.
Well, they didn't tell us.
They sent their friend ahead of us. That wonderful Ms. Dubois.
they're gonna kill Oriana. You know that song "Circle of Life"?
It says, it was Oriana's friend who set up the meeting. I'm on my way there now. They got back to Waterdeep, it seems. Would you like to come with me?
No.
We have homework to attend to.
Homework.
Homework to attend to.
All right. Well, get home safely, won't you? Give my regards to your family, Master Victus, and tell them I must stop by the lamp soon.
Okay.
Silently just gonna run away, like absolutely get out of here.
Completely forgotten what Ranulph's accent's supposed to be. It's supposed to be
No,
like
that sounds right. That sounds right.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
based on the current trajectory, you won't be having to do it for much longer.
Okay, you race your way out of the castle.
I was going to say, I think Squiddly's investigator's instinct may kick in a little bit here.
Okay.
The moment we're out
what
of,
do you
like, earshot / sight,
Yep.
Squiddly is going to sign to the rest of the party and say, "Now, I know that we should probably leave, but I can't help but think that if we did know what was about to happen in that meeting, that might be, helpful. Maybe we don't go with Lord Ilvasta, but maybe we could follow and listen in."
We sneak through the ventilation system that Castle Waterdeep definitely has.
Unironically, but do we see any vents?
Yes.
How high up, Dan?
Well, don't worry. We've done this before, in the case of the stolen brie.
Yes, very high up. You would need to kind of climb on things, but you have done it before. Explain to me how before these 4 children have gotten themselves into vents 15 feet off the ground.
Easily.
Okay, here's
There's
the...
4 of us, right?
Yep.
We stack, and one of us goes in and relays the information. I vote Pidlwick, given that Pidlwick is a acrobatic individual. We stack 3 of the rest of us up and push Pidlwick into a vent. Easy.
Well, Pidlwick can help someone else up into the vent after him, right?
Works for me.
Okay.
So 3 people stack, 1 person climbs up.
Yeah, and then we put Pidlwick up,
and
Pidlwick,
then 2 people stack. 1 person hangs down a little bit, and the 4th one climbs up.
I think we can get at least 3 people in there. I don't see how we're getting the last one.
So the way the last one works, two of us hold the arms of the 3rd person,
And then we dangle them out.
so most of their body is hanging down.
And
The
then we
4th
try-
person then wall jumps onto the 3rd person, climbs up them like a ladder, and then the 1st, 2nd, and 4th person pull up the 3rd person.
Yes. Exactly as Alistair says.
Okay.
We've done it 1,000 times.
You have, and I'm not even
10,000
going to ask you to make acrobatics checks to do it because you've done it so
Excellent.
frequently. You
This sounds so much like Dan just really wants us to hear what goes on in this meeting.
No, I think that's a fantastic idea. You climb up into the
They've all got
vents,
a camera.
and you can begin to kind of make your way through the ventilation system in this castle. Make survival checks to see if you can work out where you're going.
Oh, it's a nat 20. Come on now.
18.
14.
Okay. You make your way through the vents. You can hear the footsteps of Lord Ilvasta and his guard through some of the open vents until you get to a vent on a wall, a grate on a wall that you can see through it. You're at the end of an open. You're at the end of a wall, and the open room ahead of you is a large open space. It seems to be a grand gallery of some kind that Ranulph and his guards are crossing. Dotted here and there are sofas and potted plants. But there are other guards kind of standing in this large room. Ranulph crosses to the other side of it and goes to a door on the other side.
But there's no way the vents don't continue.
The vents won't continue that way now.
How many guards are still in the gallery?
There are 3 guards in this grand gallery. The gallery itself must be about 60 feet by 80 feet, and as I say, there are lots of large plants, sofas, kind of end tables with ornaments on them, big portraits along the walls, and these 3 patrolling guardsmen.
I have a plan how we can distract the guardsmen, but it's a bit of a Hail Mary.
I think I might have a similar plan.
I minor illusion to create sound outside the door, not the door that Ranulph's in,
I can use Thaumaturgy to do the same thing as well, so we can double up.
and then when they all rush out those doors, we run in, slam the doors, and lock them from the inside.
If we can get in and out of this room using the vents, and lock the doors, then leave again through the vents without being spotted, after we've done listening in, then that sounds like a good plan to me. I mean, again, in terms of creating a distraction, we've got Minor Illusion. I can use Thaumaturgy to do a instantaneous sound that originates from a point of my choice, up to
Use
first
Mage Hand to
people.
trip someone up.
I think we've got enough there to distract them. Again, if we can, does the door look from where we are in the vent like it has a locking mechanism, like a bolt or anything?
The door that he's walked through.
The guards, because there must be two doors, right? So there's door.
There must be a door beneath you.
Okay, well, yeah. What does the door that Ranulph went through look like? Does it have a bolt behind it?
It doesn't. It's kind of it's an ornate door, but it's an ordinary kind of just interconnecting door.
I hate this.
Well, we could always try and run through the door after Ranulph and hope no one he's not like facing the door and doesn't see or hear us.
Is there another vent? You know how like some doors have like a little window at the top in modern world.
Well, the door is still slightly open. It's not closed behind him.
How far away is it? Do we think we could just hear them from
80
here
feet.
still? 80, maybe not.
Ugh.
Hang on.
You will need to get closer. The 4 investigators have faced worse than this.
Yes.
I think we cause a distraction and just bank on at least getting the gist. If we keep one person at watch, and we'll be signing this in events, obviously.
Yeah.
If we keep one person on the watch by the door where the guards will presumably then leave through after our distraction, the moment we hear the guards coming back, we'll just leave then, cut it short. Like, I don't think these kids are going to want to risk, getting caught and in their minds probably sent to prison. So
Sent to detention, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think see what we can get via the distraction method, and then the moment things get a bit wacky, we just leave.
Okay.
Jenks will nominate himself to keep watch, so he has to do the least amount of running.
Okay. So, what I'm going to need from you all now is initiative rolls.
Do you want us to roll them on D&D Beyond so they're in the combat tracker, or is this not going to be a fight?
It's not a fight, but you are going to act in initiative, so rolling them on D&D Beyond would be helpful.
Thanks, D&D Beyond.
For all of your D&D digital toolset needs, not sponsored.
Yes.
Yet.
Yeah, but willing to be sponsored.
Yeah. We will give you shout-outs anyway, but if you want to pay us to do that, the offer.
I feel like we should hold off on those shout-outs until we get there.
Oh, that's a good idea. We
should have like a big your ad here.
We should blackmail them and say we won't give you shout-outs unless you give
I
us
will
money.
continue to roll real dice until you
protest.
sponsor us.
If D&D Beyond pay me, I'll start using your dice roller.
There will be no way to officiate my claims of rolling a 10.
Okay, I have a 4 from
How will
Pidlwick,
we know?
a 10 from Nat, an 8 from Jenks, and how much for Squiddly?
16.
16.
Natural 20.
I wish.
All right, so this is the scene as we find ourselves. You are all in a vent at one end of a 60-foot wide, 80-foot long room. You're roughly in the middle of one wall. 15 feet beneath you is the floor. Spaced out across this 60-foot by 80-foot floor, in various different places, are sofas and chairs, end tables, potted plants, and desks that all have stacked on them varieties of statues, ornaments, vases with flowers in, various different kinds of decorations and accoutrements to make this place quite a nice gallery. There are huge paintings lining the walls. There are other doors set into the walls, but they are all closed. At the other end of the 80-foot long chamber is the door that Ranulph Ilvaster has exited through. It is still ajar. There are patrolling the room 3 guards. They have, it seems, a set pattern of patrol, but they vary it slightly every so often to go and have a look at a particular painting or piece of artwork every so often. They make their way around the room reasonably slowly, evidently quite bored and in need of a distraction. Through the windows, the evening light is coming through, so it is quite light in here. The sun is, these windows west facing, are receiving the full glare of the sun's golden evening rays as it sets below the sea out to the west. Squiddly, what are you doing with your first 6 seconds?
So, I'm going to use
It'd be helpful if I could appoint one of you actually to track movement, so how far across the 80 feet you get. If one of you would be okay to look after that.
I can do it if no one else wants to.
Cool. Well, if Jenks is on lookout and kind of observing the situation, then the benefit of signing things is that you can do that over distances without being heard. It's almost as if it's similar to a telepathic bond.
We need to have visual contact.
Yeah.
So, I am going to, first things first, use thaumaturgy to create a sound coming from kind of back the way we came towards the other, as long as it's 30 feet away I could do it.
Okay.
Back towards where, like, the opposite direction of, like, Lord Ilvaster's room and all the other stuff going on there. I'm going to create the sound of, like a fight breaking out or something.
Okay. So
with the intention of distracting the guards.
You begin to weave your thaumaturgic magic, trying to create kind of noise of a fight. As you do so, you accidentally kick against a panel in the metal vent, and send a corrugated iron plate clattering down the pipe behind you, creating the noise of metal scratching on metal in the pipework, further and further back, and it sounds, for all intents and purposes, as though a fight has broken out. Your magic has successfully created the noise of a fight breaking out further down the corridor. The guards all look up, and they are made curious and alarmed by this sound. Two of them come towards you. You're in the vent above the door. Come towards you and disappear out of your view as they leave the room, leaving one guard in the middle of the room, facing you, facing the doorway.
Is there space in the vent for us to move past each other at all?
Yes.
Or is it just cool?
Yeah.
In that case, then I'm going to have Squiddly get like close up to the vent.
Mm-hmm.
I assume the vent is like sort of not. We can't be seen through the vent easily.
No, not unless someone was actively looking for you.
Yeah, I'm going to get close to the vent and then sign to the rest of the party, saying that I've successfully created part of a distraction, but we could use a little more oomph to it.
Okay,
and that's all me.
That's all you can do in 6 seconds. So Nat, it's now your turn.
Oh crap. One facing us, in that they're facing the door and we're above the door. I don't think I have anything I can do. I might have to pass.
Okay. Would you like to hold an action?
Hang on. I have a pet mouse,
Do you?
according to my other possessions.
Okay.
I would like for this pet mouse. I'm going to pull this pet mouse. I'm going to call it Joseph.
Okay.
I'm going to pull Joseph out and I'm going to sort of stroke him against my cheek and with the power of my mind tell him what I want to do. And I want him to go bite this guard. And then I'm going to wait for a moment where he sort of looks like he might either like turn around, just like survey the room, make sure there's nothing going on going on in the room, and then throw the mouse out through the hole to try and land either on or just around this guard.
You would like to throw a mouse 30 feet across a room.
Oh, he's
Let the mouse run.
Yeah, he's in the middle of the room.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant like he was like 5 feet in front of the door.
No.
Okay. In which case I'm going to put him down and see if we can run down the door without being seen.
All right. You put him down, and it will. The mouse will scramble through the vent, back through the vents, and you see it a few moments later appear on the floor in the doorway, and it scuttles into the darkness and begins making its way across the room. That's 6 seconds. Jenks.
So 2 of them have legged it to go investigate the fight. Is there a bookcase that I could potentially topple with a well-aimed mage hand?
Yes.
I'm gonna topple a bookcase.
Okay. You fiddle around with the top of the vent, trying to open it a little bit more so that you can kind of see where some of the bookcases are. There's bookcases sort of on the wall, kind of directly beneath you as well. You fiddle with the vent, and it's a very old vent, and you accidentally break off part of the opening of it, and it falls. And it falls at such an angle that it wedges behind a bookcase. The force of the fall from the elevated height of this vent, the metal kind of falls at an angle, and as it continues to fall, pushes against the bookcase, and the bookcase topples over. You cast Mage Hand, the bookcase topples over.
That is all I can do.
Completely alarmed by the huge noise that has been created by this bookcase falling over, the other guard will come over to just underneath the vent and start, having now turned away from the vent proper, will start inspecting what happened and trying to kind of check to see whether any of the other bookcases are loose.
Go.
Okay, well, that's your 6 seconds. Pidlwick.
So the guard is now, he's not looking anywhere near the vent.
No.
So I can probably safely lower myself down.
You could lower yourself down. Whether or not you could do it safely is open to debate.
Well, I can safely lower myself down in my own mind.
Would it be possible, outside of a turn, for any of us to just assist in that, to lower Pidlwick down at all? Or?
No, not if you've had an action this round.
Cool.
I will begin the process of lowering myself down.
Okay.
Would
Make
you like
for
me
me,
to
please,
make
a
a check?
dexterity acrobatics check.
Ooh. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible. 14.
All right. You succeed in lowering yourself down safely, and you land on the floor. You see that there is a small mouse scuttling up to the guard as you land on the floor. You've got half your movement left.
How healthy does this guard look?
It looks like he's got
say mouse.
he's got a reasonably good diet. Eats his greens, all those things that you get told to do when you're a kid. Eats the crusts, has curly hair.
Well, I assume I don't get told them.
No, Alex still does from time to time because he wants to make you feel like you're a real boy.
Yes. I'm just looking at my spell list where it says sleep, but I feel like that has the potential to go horribly wrong. So what I'm instead going to do is, over the top of myself, I'm going to cast the minor illusion of a sofa.
Okay.
Well, an armchair.
Yep.
And I'm going to motion for the others to hide inside the armchair with me.
Okay.
And then when the others are with me, we're going to move as an armchair.
So
it's like some prop hunt.
This is communicated up to you, and you see Pidlwick grab a large piece of fabric and holds it up in a very convincing way that looks like the inside of a sofa. So it looks like he's inside a sofa. His minor illusion to create this sofa above him. Squiddly.
Following Pidlwick's lead there, I suppose I'm going to go pretend to be in the sofa as well.
Okay, make a dexterity acrobatics check to see if you can lower yourself down.
Okay, let's make this good, please. 11 is better than average.
Yep, you're able to lower yourself down.
Cool.
And you hide inside the sofa.
The
illusory sofa.
Inside, Pidlwick has extended his arms out.
Yeah.
And he's he's basically formed the shape of a sofa with his body.
Yep, we are assuming a sofa position.
Okay, Nat.
Whatever that means.
I'm gonna follow suit.
Okay, make a
Try and
dexterity
get
acrobatics check.
Can this be an athletics check?
No, acrobatics.
Okay. 15.
You successfully lower yourself down. Is Jenks staying in the vent to keep lookout?
If it's a decent vantage point, then yes, he
You
will
can see the
stay.
entirety of the room from here.
He's staying put.
Okay, in which case I would like a collective. What sort of check would this be? Well, I'm gonna have one of you roll a performance, one of you rolls stealth, and one of you roll acrobatics to navigate your way around the room as a sofa without arousing too much suspicion. So
we'll have to confer about who's doing
about
what.
who rolls what. Yeah.
I only have a +2 to stealth from those 3.
Is that your
I
highest?
feel like,
those?
as the person who is performing the role of the sofa, I should roll performance.
I imagine Pidlwick's performance is pretty good though, right?
Yeah, he's pretended to be a sofa like at least twice.
Then I suppose I'll do acrobatics. That seems good to me.
Okay.
And I'll do. So was that doing stealth?
You're doing stealth.
Yeah.
Okay, so the stealth check.
That is a 16.
The performance check
12.
and the acrobatics check.
Nat 1, but a total of 4.
Okay, Jenks, from your vantage point, you can see this illusory sofa, and you're in awe of Pidlwick's magical abilities because it genuinely looks like a sofa. Pidlwick's ability to conjure illusory soft furnishings is quite advanced. This sofa moves along the room. You can see kind of every so often, like the fabric moves, and you see 3 pairs of feet kind of, moving along. It occasionally gets very, very close to a desk and nearly bumps into a desk, and then kind of like weaves its way around. It almost falls over at one point before righting itself. It moves like very comically through this 80-foot long room and stops on the other side by the door, where I assume the illusion is dispelled, or does the sofa itself move through the doorway?
Oh. Yeah, I feel like the smart thing to do would be to dispel the illusion and try and sneak more
what would
conventionally
Pidlwick do?
into the room. I mean, Pidlwick, he hangs around with Oriana. She's pretty smart, and she's probably told him about the key to stealth is being inconspicuous.
Yep.
And sofas are generally very inconspicuous.
Yep, no one notices them.
So I think we continue through into the other room as a sofa,
Okay.
unless anyone stops me.
No, we're going along with Pidlwick here, I think.
Okay, Jenks, you see a little foot stick out from underneath the sofa, nudge the door open a little bit, and the sofa disappears into the next room.
Amazing.
You are
Like an IKEA poltergeist.
You are in a large office. This office, this very large office, has at one end huge windows that overlook the city of Waterdeep. At the other end, huge windows that overlook a bay out to the kind of the harbour of Waterdeep and out over the Moonsea. There is near that far set of windows a large desk, behind which there is a very big red executive leather chair that is leather and deep and plush and spins. There is a large fireplace with a blazing fire over which there is a huge portrait of Ranulf Ilvaster. A huge 15-foot portrait of Ranulf Ilvaster. There are sofas at one end of the room near the fire. In the middle of the room near the fireplace, and there are sofas at one end of the room near the windows that look out over the city of Waterdeep. The plush red carpet beneath your feet and several rugs dotted around to give the place a little bit more warmth. There are walls of bookshelves and paperwork, and you see stood behind the desk, facing out, overlooking the water and the harbour, so at the far end of the room, is Ranulph Ilvaster. What would you like to do?
Which are the closest group of sofas to us?
The closest group of sofas to you are by the windows overlooking the city.
Is it possible that we can sneak round and just sit ourselves down next to them so we look like just another sofa in the room?
You may make... Go on.
If this results in Lord Ilvaster sitting on any of these children, that's going to really quickly blow our cover.
Roll for me, please. You're trying to camouflage yourself. You are a piece of furniture, trying to camouflage yourselves around other pieces of furniture. Roll a deception check.
Deception?
With advantage, because there are 3 of you doing it.
I'm not actually especially good at this. That is cocked, and so I can't actually see what it is. 15.
Okay. You discreetly manage to deposit yourselves such that you are now just one sofa amongst others. Jenks.
Did we see the other?
Yes.
Sorry.
Ranulph?
Yes, so Ranulph is at the far end of the room, surveying the harbour. Jenks. You, from your vantage point, can see a figure emerge from the doorway and beneath you and walk across the room to the office. This is the figure of an elven or eladrin individual with shoulder-length, yellow gold, kind of autumnal hair, wearing leather armour, carrying a bow, and around her neck a necklace with a ring on it. You recognise the figure that you have seen many times at the cafe as Oriana, walking across the room. Make an insight check.
Before I do, is King with Oriana, or at least a black cat-looking creature?
No.
Can I then argue advantage on insight because Jenks will never have seen Oriana without King?
Yes.
Excellent.
I think that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
That is a good call.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Natural
It
one.
didn't matter, I rolled a 1 and a 2. So that's a 6.
Okay. Well, with a
Must have left him at
6,
home.
you get the sense that something might be off, but Oriana might not want to bring a Displacer Beast kitten into the Castle of the Open Lord. That wouldn't be completely out of the picture.
Displaced.
Yeah,
Displaced
that wouldn't be
out of the window.
that wouldn't be out of place for that to be there. But something doesn't feel right. But Oriana,
Such a big brain play.
Oriana crosses the room and goes towards Ranulph's office. Sofa. You are in Ranulph Ilvaster's office, and the door opens.
Sofa Team 6, yes.
And the question is, can any of you see through the fabric?
Yes, I have an heightened powers of sight.
Pidlwick has there's eye holes, but they look like those buttons that he's got one eye hole. Those folded in buttons that are on sofas. All of the other ones are designed to look like Pidlwick's eyes, so the one eye hole doesn't look out of place.
Okay.
It's like the other ones are a different texture, so if you really looked at it, it would make but as much as looking at an illusory sofa is going to go, something's wrong with this.
Okay. It was very fortunate that the piece of fabric has little rounded buttons in it that are very similar colour to...
Funnily enough, Thaumaturgy specifically says you can alter the appearance of your eyes for a minute, and I can use Thaumaturgy at least 3 times within any single instance of using it. So I reckon, I could disguise, any of our eyes as these buttons pretty easily, actually.
So we have in this situation 3 children pretending to be a sofa, hidden underneath some fabric that Pidlwick claims to have illused into existence, with little eye holes cut out into the sunken, depressed buttons, watching this room where the open Lord of Waterdeep stands surveying the harbour. That is the scene that we find ourselves in
Big
right
Scooby-Doo energy.
If this was a movie, the whole scene would be shot from inside the sofa.
Yeah. The door opens a little bit more, and the three of you see the very familiar face of Oriana walking through.
Insight check.
Yeah, you may all make wisdom insight checks. You have advantage because you know Oriana well.
Oh.
Okay.
Would I have any reason not to suspect Oriana? I don't think I would.
15.
I got a 17. It's pretty alright.
It's unusual.
I'm not going to do one because I wouldn't.
You cool. You doubt. This is the thing. Why would Cecile have told you that they were still overseas, as it were? Yet Oriana be here. Something doesn't make sense. But it looks like Oriana, and kind of moves like Oriana.
But it's a breakfast cereal. It's Cookie Crisp. Sorry.
When she speaks, sounds like Oriana. And she says, Lord Ilvaster. Ranulph Ilvaster turns round. And he says, Oriana, good to see you, good to see you. Please come in. Tell me, what is it that you wanted to speak to me about? Have you finally found who stole the king's tears? We have, in fact. I'm here to tell you that Génie has the tears. Wonderful, he says.
Every time we've been falsely accused of a crime.
You recovered them. Excellent. No. We had them all along. She reaches into her quiver very quickly, notches an arrow, pulls it back, and says, Goodbye, Lord Ilvaster. It's good to know that they will know that it was me that killed you. Releases the arrow. The arrow sails across the room. And that is where we are going to wrap up tonight.
I was going to say, I have a thing if she's making an attack roll.
I hate this game.
Well, that was the kids episode. That was Childish Things. When we meet again, we are meeting again. Our next game, I believe, is on the...
It's October or something.
Yeah, we're into October. Let me just find our calendar. So we are going to be playing again on Monday, the 10th of October, 7 o'clock here on twitch.tv/TheAglarion. And we'll be back with our heroes, with Howl and Alec and Génie and Oriana, and we'll find out what's been happening.
I tell you what, it's a good thing that we were playing as 9-year-old children in this episode, because if it were Oriana, Alec, Génie, and Howl in the vents at that point, I feel like genuinely there would have been a discussion of, okay, this is clearly not Oriana, but do we just help them and just actually kill Lord Ilvaster?
This is all your fault, Tony.
Yeah.
You told Cecile your entire MO.
Listen, Oriana was panicking. She's in the middle of a psychotic break, I think.
and Cecile is sexy and therefore can be trusted, right?
Exactly.
Right.
It was out of game. It was such a gift to me, Tony, when you said that Oriana tells Cecile everything about her previous missions, because that gave me I was like, the moment you said that, I was like, excellent. Now Oriana gets to do things, but it isn't really Oriana. So we will see what happens.
The three people in the world who know the most about Oriana are Alec, who knows all of her trauma.
Yep.
Cecile, who knows her entire MO and all of the jobs she's ever done,
Yeah.
and some random guy at a party who she told an anecdote to.
Yeah, those are the people who know things about Oriana, and we might meet that random guy again. Actually,
He's going
I hope so. I liked him.
Yeah.
He's going to commit a series of murders and tie them all to Oriana.
So how do we all feel? How are we all feeling?
I hate this game.
I liked when we could just disintegrate people.
I think we might go back to that. I was talking to Tony about this a little earlier today. I think Howell, obviously, once Howell learns about this, assuming that I, as a player, believe that this is part of Lord Ilvaster's plan to basically villainize the party, maybe, or something to do with that, working with Cecile, based on a few things. If that turns out to be the case, we are about this goddamn close. For Hal going, you know what, guys, I think we're better than the rulers of various places on Faerun. What if we just start making decisions? We're at this close to Vigilante Howl just taking out world leaders for funny.
Depose... Well, I suppose the government of Waterdeep isn't democratically elected, so it's perfectly legitimate to depose them.
Yeah, I think we're approaching the point where it's like, what if Genie's lap just ruled the world, guys? What if we just took over?
Let's do it.
All I want is just a classic dungeon crawl. No political equations to work out. No
Quick in and out dungeon crawl.
I want to go to a party
backstabbing my friends,
where there's no
fighting.
crime.
Just
Alistair-
fighting fiends in the undergrowth.
Alistair has very patiently been waiting for classic D&D for the year and a half that we have been playing this game.
We went
Longer.
at least one
Longer.
dungeon crawl.
Two? Is it two? When did we start? We started 2020, so 2.5 years that we have been
2.5
playing
years.
this game.
Well, the
Yeah,
simple question to determine how long we've been
one
playing
dungeon.
is,
Well,
Alistair, how old is
two
your
dungeons.
daughter? And then we had a
That was
couple
one
of months to that.
you know what
Yeah.
would be extremely cool? If obviously, we want to do a big dungeon crawl at some point. Alistair is dying for a dungeon crawl. If we do end up just fighting Lord Ilvaster, turn the palace, the whole castle thing in Waterdeep into a dungeon den, and then there you go.
There is.
Like a
dungeon
Laser
crawl.
Quest adventure park.
I am promising.
Yeah.
I am promising you a classic dungeon crawl, but it will be tied in with the plot. So expect a little bit of intrigue.
Oh, we've got to
Sounds
go
great.
find Bryn.
Can we
Yeah.
expand Genie's Lamp into Genie's Lamp and Theme Park and turn the palace into a giant Laser Quest? And Genie's Lamp.
Genie's Lamp and Laser Quest.
That's
can-
basically what Alastair Blackcloak did with Undermount.
Well, that is very true. That is very true. That is what Undermountain is. Just a giant.
We
theme
can
park.
retire from our adventuring lives and just wander around the palace as the bosses of a laser dungeon.
Well, speaking
Laser
speaking of retiring, we're all going to retire to bed, I think, or at least to de-stress after that particular episode. We are back, as I say, on the 10th of October, 7 o'clock here on twitch.tv/TheAglarion. If you aren't already following this channel, please do. If you want to keep up with us and keep up with our activities, follow us on Twitter as well, at TheAglarion, and our website. You can find most of those links in the bio or in the video description below, depending where you're watching this. That's it. That's all we have time for. It's past these children's bedtimes, so we'll let them get to bed. So
We've got homework due tomorrow.
yeah, some of you
Yeah.
have got a late night doing some algebra. Do you remember the song? Were you ever taught the song for the big equation? I can't remember the proper name of the equation.
Yeah, I did not do very well. I did not do very well in maths.
The Sokotoa equation.
No, to the tune of "Pop Goes the Weasel."
No, but I would like to hear this song.
Yeah, you might trigger my memory if you sing it.
Yeah, you know.
See, Dan, obviously,
The
the
song.
first time we...
Go on.
Sure, go on. But the first time we played Curse of Strahd, you did sing at the game table.
I did, yeah, and I have
anyway-
sung since. I've led choral evensong at the University of Cambridge since.
Well, I think we need a musical episode
We
at some
can
point.
have a musical episode, but for now, these children
from me.
these children need to do their algebraic homework and remember the song. I can't remember the name of the equation, but it's the big equation. The ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. It's got a particular name, but I can't remember.
You sure do
I-
the same words. to
I
me.
don't know
I've
that
never
equation.
even heard that equation. Imagine
No,
A-level
I've
maths.
heard of that equation.
Yeah,
I've heard of
but
that
the song
equation.
to the
I
tune
did
of Pop-
fail A-level
to the tune
maths.
of Pop Goes the Weasel, which is, if I remember it rightly, x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
I got 4AC,
Yeah.
which my brain interpreted as really bad.
X equals
The quadratic equation.
Yes, that's what it is called, the quadratic
Yeah.
equation. Yes, thank you. Well, go and do your algebra homework and then get some good rest. It's school tomorrow, so we'll say good night. Thank you all for joining us. Good night.